Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughened him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addict live stream in their courtroom.
The fireworks are not done.
We're getting commentary on the case. Dati mihi Anglican for his service.
Is that correct?
I didn't ask you to interrupt me. Oh, for Trump's sake.
Get off my lawn.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict. I'm trying to get the Clint Eastwood "Get Off My Lawn" clip added to the mix, but we'll see what happens. Alrighty, where are we at? Good morning. Oh, I changed the view from my camera just a little bit outside, so now you can see some beautiful trees. We got the I think that's a Douglas fir in the foreground. And I have no idea what one is in the background, but it's got long stems with leaves all the way on it. Looks like a non-native tree to me. Let's see if I can focus on that back one a little bit. I don't know what the back one is. I need a tree identification here. What does that look like? All right, I don't know. Well, all right. So we're going to be back from lunch here in just a moment with the jury in the Bad Neighbors trial. We also have. Do I have a delivery? Thank you. So put that one in the fridge. I might be slipping a little bit. I've been good for so long. Hey. Okay. All right. Welcome back. We don't have a feed from court yet, so hang on one second. All right, fun things. Let's see. We have where's my chat? Chat, where did you go? Hang on one second.
Call from.
It's me again.
Hey, how's it going?
So really brief. I'm a very busy man. Do you believe in Sasquatch of any kind?
Who doesn't? I didn't think it's like a belief. It's not like the.
That's
the
what I'm talking
fairy.
about. That's what everybody make it rain on my house.
Okay, thanks, Donnie. Do I believe in Sasquatch? Everyone believes in Sasquatch, so it's not subject to debate. Let's see. We've got. Trying to get the chat up on the screen, and it's not wanting to play nicely. There we go. All right. Here we go. Let's see. I'm trying to see who won. Oh, it was Kim R. Kim R, congratulations. Let me see if I can get you on the screen here. So many things, so many buttons to push. Kim, congratulations. You were first in chat today. Thank you. You've won many times before, Kim. I know you know what's coming, and we're glad that you know because you know how to handle it. The internet is all yours, Kim. We're gifting it to you for you to take care of. Mountain Dew is good for allergy symptoms. Hey. Double duty. I am on vacation right now. I'm on vacation in Utah. I'll be in Utah and Idaho for about a month and a half-ish. And so this is our Airbnb that we've rented, and it's much nicer than my home. I will say that hands down. My home was built in 1915 and is in a constant state of decay and in need of repair. So we're always finding things that have broken and things that need to be fixed and updated. And like the wiring. Apparently now it's like code to have grounds on your wiring. 2 wires is good enough, right? 2 wires is good enough. If it turns on, it works. Yeah, so lots of things need to be updated on our house, but in this house, it's really, really nice. I mean, our lights in our rooms have Bluetooth speakers and like hidden fans that pop out when you turn them on. It's like, it's crazy. I didn't know you could have this type of residence. It's like a palace. And the price was right, which is even better. Let's see. Welcome. So Kim, you've got the internet. Ruth, thanks for the question. This is my studio away from studio, right here. So I've just set up in the master bedroom because that's the only place I have a big screen that I can use and some space to put some of my gear. But that's where we are. Let's see. Bekra Merend. Bekra. I'm struggling with your name. Bekra Merent. Welcome to the gallery. Love the green courthouse by your name. That means you've got at least 3 months under your belt there. Appreciate your support. Just a little backslide. I'll just sip it. I have not had any yet. I fell off the wagon. This is the dieting wagon. And you can't just... All salads and no Mountain Dew makes RA a dull boy. That's what I say. I think that's like an actual saying. All salads and no Mountain Dew makes you a dull boy. Let's see. Eric says, Nurgle Rat. Recovery Addict's the only YouTuber I know whose on the road kit is more professional than, well, all the other YouTubers I know. I tell you, it's important. I'm glad I didn't leave things home, because when the audio is so bad from some of these courts, without some of this equipment, I could not fix it. And so, yeah, it's a lot. I'm in Layton, by the way, Elephant Lover. I'm in Layton. Once I leave here, I'll give you the exact location. You guys can all check out the place, but don't give that away while we're on. Do you have on pants? No, it's shorts. It's beautiful outside. Just shorts. All right. Sherry McDonald, fun fact. Recovery Addict bought his house without Mrs. R.A. even knowing about it. This is true. I bought the house that we own in North Carolina. Mrs. R.A. had never seen it, had never been there. The first time she saw the house was the day we moved in. And that was also the day, coincidentally, that I lost my house choosing privileges. I don't get to choose houses anymore. So, Perry, thank you very much for the, I'll be back. Super chat, super sticker. I've seen the new document. The doc dropped a BK in the last 2 days. No. Send me the BK document. I know we've got a hearing coming up on change of venue, which I think is pretty much all but decided, right? It's just a formality at this point. It's going to be in Boise. And if it's not, I would say I'd eat my hat. I don't have a hat to eat. But are we still streaming the trial? Yes, we are. We're actually doing a double duty today. We're streaming the second part, which will be an abbreviated section, part 3 of the Bad Neighbors trial. I should probably name these part 3, 1, 2, and 3. I forgot to name them that way. But Josh, thanks. I'll watch for the email. We have a short day with part 3 of the Bad Neighbor trial, and then we're going to pick up with closing arguments, which are going to begin in a couple hours in the Robert Tellis trial. So we were going to watch that. We might be a little bit late starting, so we'll be 1.25 speed through some of the beginning stuff until we get caught up, and then we're probably going to do double duty because we have a Florida Coast trial in the morning and then a Pacific Coast trial in the afternoon. We might be able to have literally watch 2 courts a day crammed in. It's just the way things work out until we get a verdict, and then we'll just be stuck with just the one later in the day, Robert Tellis. Had a couple more suggestions for the thumbnail of our lunch break. Excellent. I'll keep an eye on that and see how that's going. No audio from court yet. We're listening in. So as soon as that becomes available, we'll send it to you. Honestly, one day Recovery Addict's going to have a traveling outside broadcasting studio set up outside the courthouse we're following. Give it time, it will happen. Mike, this is in my, I'm, what do they call that when you envision the future? You manifesting, is that what it is? Is it manifesting it? Yeah. I say this to myself in the morning. One day I'll have not just a go rig, but a little vehicle, a whole studio in a little car, just big enough for me and all the gear. I'm super excited about that one day. Opening statements, not closing arguments. I said, yes, I'm sorry. I got excited. I always like verdicts, so closing arguments are the thing I think of. But yes, we'll be watching opening statements with the Robert Tellis trial that start in a couple hours. Yes. Thanks for the correction. FYI, pants in the UK means something different. Yes. Why, yes, it does, Mike. Yes. I guess I would have to say yes on that one. Josh sent me the document on. We're getting a feed slowly but surely. Let's see if we get something from court here. Just a minute. There we go. Let's see. There we go. We've got court. We just need got our overlay for our cursive counter. We're up to 48 right now. We're expecting to have 1 hour of testimony in another recorded interview from maybe a couple days later. So we've got another one of those coming up. Hopefully, it's a vision board. That's it. Vision board. Clairvoyant. Bucket list. Opening statements. Closing arguments. You know, I rescue dogs. One thing I honestly do want to do is I would like to build a kit that would be easy to use. So taking the best gear for getting a quality stream and putting it in a simple to use and simple to train package, because so many people have reached out to me saying, I want to do what you do, and I want these abilities, but I don't have the tech know-how. And I'd like to sort of put together a kit that I can say, look, this is the kit, and then I can have a training for that kit. Say, it wouldn't be my stuff. It's all somebody else's gear. But these are the parts. This is how you plug it in. Red wire to red wire, flip the switch, and you're good to go. So that's like my dream come true if we get to that point. It's just a franchise. Yes, we can franchise. I just think that, when they say, when all you have is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. YouTube has been very good to me, and I've loved it. The ability to just speak with the community and do things that I love and share things that I love with people who are awesome has been a life changer for me. It really has. And I want to give other people the opportunity, if they want to. I'd like to make it to get the tech side, out of the way as much as possible and let people just do what they like. So that's my idea. But somebody's probably going to steal it, and that's great. I mean, I don't care if it's my idea or someone else's. It's just, right now, aside from just using your phone, which is sort of poor quality.
All rise.
That's the jury. That's where the jury seats. Nice padded chairs there.
Court is now back in session.
Have a seat, everybody. I'm sorry I'm late.
No, it's okay, Judge. We were just talking.
Sometimes happened or something arose right before I walked out the door. Huh? Yes, I did. I worked on that. Yes.
Did he just swear?
And that is been addressed. See Miss Lawrence back in the courtroom.
Libby, please do. I just want somebody
to do it. Back on the record in the state of Florida versus Susan Lawrence. I see Miss Lawrence back in the courtroom. Everyone ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Anything anyone needs to bring up before we bring the jurors back?
No, sir.
Let's bring them back.
Bring him back. That's not very professional sounding. We need to go back with our Judge Newman really quickly.
You will bring the jury.
There we go. Bring him back. Just doesn't. We might say that about in custody defendants on an arraignment hearing or something, but not the jury.
Are you able to increase the volume at all?
Yes, I did.
Yes. I think I can do it, or I think you can do it. Either way, I can do it.
Okay, I'm counting it.
Technically, what I can do is increase the volume of the microphones and audio system. I can see if that does
no.
it.
Oh, please, Judge. Whoa. Don't do this. Resist the temptation. it's almost never a good idea to just turn the volume up when you've got a noisy courtroom.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I believe we had a witness on the stand. Let's recall that person.
Yes, Your Honor. Brian Stiff.
Did you already give me a transcript or no?
Not yet.
Okay. I was looking for it, but I didn't see it. Guess there's good reason for that. And you want me to reread all the things I've read?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have any more questions for him before we play?
No, sir.
Okay. Have a seat, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read to you again the previous instructions I gave to you regarding recordings, okay? Members of the jury, you are about to view or listen to an audio or video recording. The court instructs you that the recording has been edited to eliminate irrelevant portions that would not add to your understanding of the case. The fact that the recording has been edited should not concern you in any way and must not impact the way you view or listen to and consider this evidence. You are about to hear and watch a recorded interview that contains opinions and statements by Detective Ryan Stith, Detective Kip Peterson, and Detective Daniel Pender to Susan Lorincz. These opinions and statements are pertinent only to explain the reactions and responses they elicit. You are not to consider these opinions and statements by the police officer as true, but only to establish the context of Susan Lorinc's reactions and responses. You are about to hear recorded conversations. These recorded conversations are proper evidence, and you may consider them just as any other evidence. You are also being furnished transcripts of the recorded conversations. The recordings are the evidence, and the transcripts are provided to you only as a guide to help you follow as you listen to the recordings. The transcripts are not evidence of what was actually said or who said it. If you notice any difference between what you hear on the recordings and what you read in the transcripts, you must rely on what you hear, not what you read.
May I provide the jury the transcript, Your Honor?
Yes, sir. There you go, man. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm informed the video is about an hour long. If you need a break before that hour is up, please raise your hand and I'll take a break, okay?
Here we go.
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie. Bingo.
I appreciate you coming back in and talking. You already have a water? Is there anything else to get for you right now? You're doing okay? All right, very good. Again, if you'll remember Detective Stiff. This is Detective
I'm Detective Pender. I haven't got a chance to meet you yet, but I'm looking forward to being able to speak with you. I work with Detective Stiff. We work together. I was learning different things. So anyways, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and let him cover what he needs to, and then I'll get a chance to meet you then, okay?
So, Susan, obviously when we spoke the other night, it was kind of a lot of things going on still. A lot of the pieces of what happened were still trying to be put together. Since then, we've, obviously talked to a lot more witnesses who were there. We've gained access to some video from around the area of where your complex is located. So, during those interviews, during that process of obtaining new stuff, obviously it brings new questions that we wanted to kind of cover with you, try to verify some of the stuff you said, as well as clarify things that we don't quite understand. So I was hoping that we could do that today. Obviously, just like last time, I want to make sure that you understand your rights and everything. So before we get started, I just have to read you the same thing I did last time. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer with
It is right now.
have him present with you while you're being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any questioning if you wish. You can decide at any time to execute these rights, not answer any questions, or make any statements. Do you understand each of those rights I've explained to you? Okay. And having those rights in mind, you willing to talk to us now?
Yes.
Okay. So, like I said, we've talked to a bunch of other people since then. Has there been anything that you've thought of since you and I have last talked, in person at least, that you can remember that maybe at the time, because there was a lot of emotions and, you know?
I don't know what else I could tell you, honestly.
Okay. So nothing that happened that night that you didn't remember at the time, or you just, like I said, there was a lot going on that you maybe didn't think to say?
I don't know what to tell you because I thought I told you everything.
Okay. All right. So some of the things, like I said, we were just trying to clarify because we were in the room together for a while talking, and we went over a lot of different things. So one of the things I wanted to clarify with you is and try to understand better is when Ajika was at the door, when she approached the door, when was it that you realized that it was her coming to the door?
Because I said, who's there?
Okay. How did you know someone was there initially? Was it because...
It was a huge banging.
Okay.
Just pounding at that door.
Okay. So initially, there was no words. It was just the pounding. Yeah. That's what started the interaction there.
Yes.
And where was the pounding at initially? Where it first began?
At the front door.
At the front door.
Yes.
Okay. How many times did she? Was it just like one, or was it several?
It was just bang, bang, bang.
Okay.
Bang.
All right. And then you said you asked her who's there. Okay. And what was said then?
I think she said, why do you speak to my children this way? And I said, listen, I'm not going to speak to you. Go away. You know, if she had a problem, she should have called you guys. You know, honestly. I mean, if she really thought there was something seriously wrong, I don't understand why she just came over and just started pounding on my door and, you know, screaming and yelling. So.
And then what happened after you said to go away?
To go away, and then it got quiet for a bit, and then she started really banging, you know, just pounding on that door. She was relentless.
How long is a bit, would you say?
I don't know,
like
because
5-10 seconds or 2 minutes? Or?
It was an extended period of time, probably 20 to 30 seconds, easily.
But during that time, you didn't hear anything else? Did you think she went away?
No, I obviously knew she didn't go away because she was screaming while she was pounding.
Describe that. When you say screaming, describe what does that mean?
Just, you're not supposed to speak to my children this way. Why did you, you know, and then she was saying, I'm going to kill you. And I'm like, holy shit, you know, and that's what I did.
Well, you said there was like the initial barrage of the pounding, and you said, who's there? And she said, you know, what you said about not talking to her children that way.
Yeah.
And then you said it got quiet. So there was no banging, there was no words being said.
Because I thought she went away.
That's what I was asking, basically. I'm sorry if I...
No, it's okay. I thought, all right, you know, she's just going to do whatever she wants to do.
And you said that was like 20 to 30 seconds?
Yeah.
And then did she start yelling again first, or was there more banging?
It was banging, it was yelling. I thought she was just going to break down the door.
Okay.
So, I mean, my heart was pounding, and I was like, she's really going to kill me.
Okay,
That's
so
all I felt.
When she first came up and where were you when she started the beating? The very first time? You were in the bathroom when she started beating. Yeah. And did you come to the door?
Well, I was approaching the door, and then she started screaming, and I knew who it was.
Okay.
I said, that's it, I'm not opening this door.
Okay.
And because I figured if she came in, she'd be just absolutely, you know, pounding into the ground.
All right, and then when it became silent, after that first round of beating on your door, where were you at then? Did you go?
I think I went to wash my hands, honestly.
Okay.
You know, because I didn't know who was at the door, and I wanted to know, and then I was like,
okay.
You know, so I went back and washed my hands.
Okay. So that's during the time where it was kind of quiet, and you thought that maybe she went away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And when the banging and the yelling started again, where were you at then?
I think I was in the kitchen.
Okay. All right. And then what happened?
And then she just kept banging and yelling. I'm like, you need to leave. You're trespassing. Get off my porch. Get out of here. I'm not talking to you. Leave.
Okay. Who else was outside the door besides Adrica?
No idea.
You don't know?
I have no idea.
Where were the other kids? Because I know the kids had been over there prior to her coming over.
Yeah,
or?
they were right by the, with the fences, and then there's a sidewalk. They were right beyond that sidewalk, inside where it's supposed to be no trespassing.
Okay, so they were outside of the fence while she was banging on the door?
I have no idea.
Oh, you're not sure?
I have no idea.
Okay.
You asked me when the kids were there earlier.
Right.
So, and the kids finally, I went inside. I figured they left.
So you didn't know who else was out there at that time? Okay. So you went to the kitchen and she was still pounding on the door and yelling. And I know we've kind of gone over this a lot, but I want to make sure. Now we're getting more like in order of things, because the first time we talked, it was kind of just like it all came out all at once. And now that you've had a little bit of time to kind of think about things that happened again and try to get it in a good order that things happen, because it's very important to be able to say, okay, this happened first, this is what happened next, so that we don't get them confused or anything. Okay. So after that initial silence where, well, no, I wouldn't say silence, but it got quiet, you were washing your hands in the bathroom, and then the pounding and the yelling started again, and you went to the kitchen. What were you doing in the kitchen?
I was looking for my phone.
Okay.
So I put my phone down somewhere, and I started panicking, and I started searching for the phone, and then she just kept banging and banging and banging. I'm going to kill you, get out of here, and I'm like, I have nowhere to go. I mean, I was in the kitchen, there's the sliders, and the sliders are always locked, and just that one door, so there's no escape. Okay. I couldn't leave, I couldn't get out of there. I was like, Jesus Christ, and she was pounding so hard, the mirror on my wall was shaking.
Okay, so that first time, I'm sorry to go back, but that first time that she pounds on the door, how long do you think that lasted before there was kind of the silence? I know you said she hit the door, you said, who's there, and that was it.
Probably 5-10 seconds she was pounding the first time.
Okay. And then when it started again, how long, and I'm going to jump ahead just a little bit, but we'll kind of come back, when she started pounding on the door again and saying all that stuff to the point where you fired the gun, how long do you think that lasted?
2 to 5 minutes.
2 to 5 minutes.
I don't know. Everything's kind of, it was a while. I mean, it was a while. I kept thinking, okay, you guys are going to show up, because I had called earlier and no one was coming. I'm like, shit, I couldn't find my phone. And she was just banging and banging, screaming at me, telling me, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you. I'm like, she's really going to kill me this time. That's all I kept thinking. She's literally going to come in this house and kill me.
Okay. When did you find your phone? At what point?
After I shot her. I just started searching the house frantically until I found it, and I wanted to make sure that I called and said, I shot, because I heard it go, ugh.
Where was your phone?
I think it was in my computer room.
In the computer room? Okay.
So, let me just understand this a little better, because I'm not really sure. So, the woman that got shot, what is her name?
AJ.
AJ. Right, it's AJ.
Yeah.
Okay, and how long have you known her?
I really didn't know her. I just, she was a neighbor across the street.
Okay, so how long has she been a neighbor across the street from you? Help me understand that.
A year and a half, 2 years.
Okay, year and a half and 2 years. And in that year and a half and 2 years, how many times have you guys been able to talk?
We never talked. It's more like screaming.
Okay, all right. So maybe better would we communicate. How many times have you guys been able to communicate in that year and a half or 2 years?
2 or 3 times.
2 or 3 times. And in those 2 or 3 times over a year and a half and 2 years, what were you guys screaming about? What were you guys communicating about?
She would take her dog and walk it on my sidewalk to make sure it's shit on the sidewalk. And
Yeah.
I'd go, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Of all the places you can walk and take your animal, you're going to come here.
Sure.
She said, it's the only place my dog will go to the bathroom.
Okay. So,
no, I don't think so.
Okay, so you guys would have a disagreement regarding that, some screaming regarding the dog pooping where it shouldn't. What else would you guys communicate about in that 2 or 3 times?
Then one time she was talking to the neighbors and she said, oh, that bitch over there is crazy. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to, sorry. I walked over, I said, what is your problem? And she just went on a tirade. I have never heard someone scream like this woman. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, she exploded. And I'm like, oh shit.
How long ago was that?
2 months ago.
2 months?
2 to 3 months ago. And then she was saying I called her kids all kinds of names. And I'm like, no, I didn't. And the more I said no, the more irate she got. Finally, I'm like, let me just back off, say yes, I'll apologize, and scurry away.
What kind of things was she saying that you called her kids?
that I called them racial slurs, that I called them slaves, and that's never happened. I mean, when she said, "Oh, why don't you stop already? Stop lying," you know? And I was like,
Okay, but then we're talking about what happened there today, and this woman that she passed away. You said that you guys had yelled at each other 3 or 4 times in about a year and a half to 2 years. Is that right?
Yes.
And the last time she yelled at you a lot. Did you ever? I worked as a patrol deputy for years before becoming a detective. Did you guys ever get in like a fight in the street or anything like that? No, nothing like that.
You gotta be kidding me. I'm sorry.
I gotta ask. I guess I don't know you that well.
Okay.
Did she ever brandish a weapon or anything like that, or something?
The only thing she ever did is she picked up the no trespassing sign and threw it at me and hit me.
Okay. And I know that the police came out a lot of times. Did the police ever come out for that time when she threw the sign?
Yeah, and then everybody in the neighborhood said, "Oh, we didn't see anything."
Okay.
So it was a he said, she said, so they said they couldn't charge anything.
Sure.
I'm like, all right.
And obviously you have a firearm. I haven't had a chance to ask you about this. Now, is that a gun that you've had for years? You just had it for a couple of weeks? Help me understand that.
No, over a year.
Okay, over a year. And where do you normally keep that secured in the house?
That's usually next. It was in a garbage can next to my bed.
Secured in the house.
And is it like?
Now that was the Remington that you're talking about that you got over a year ago?
Yeah.
Okay, so when we were at the house, there was the other one, the 22, was a Ruger.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you had that firearm?
A few months.
Just a few months?
Yeah, not very long. And the only reason I did it is because it was so expensive to shoot the Remington.
Oh, the 380 rounds?
The 380, yeah, way more expensive. So I got the little plinker, just target practice and stuff like that.
Are you experienced with firearms? You got 2 guns, and it sounds like you have the little plinker, and you know about the price of ammo. Are you well versed with them?
I used to be terrified of firearms. And then a friend said, you really can't defend yourself. He said, you should think about getting a gun.
Okay. So, when did you first get a gun? Was it just, or did you have other guns historically?
No, I never did.
Okay.
I first bought a 9mm, but it was just way too much gun for me, so I sold it. Then I got the little 380.
Okay. And did you go to any kind of training for those using guns, like going to the range, or tell me about that?
Went to the range, watched videos, all the other stuff, self-educating, and I was going to go take a permit to carry course.
Sure.
And I didn't get around to it.
Yeah, okay. So you were self-training yourself. You had plans to do that in the future, but it didn't come to that. So thank you for helping me understand that. And describe to me, AJ, you've only had these arguments with her a few times, but what I'm confused about is that we're talking about her banging on it 3 times, and then there's a pause, and there's everything else you just described in Detective Stiff. And you said that this was the time that she was going to come and kill you. That's confusing to me because it sounds like you guys really didn't have any other times that she was going to come and kill you.
And she was saying she's going to kill me. I mean, she was verbalizing it. She would say, "I'm going to kill you."
Okay.
That's how. It's not like this is the time she's going to come and kill me.
So I'm trying to get into your mind, and I'm trying to be brought to that moment to why you believe that. And we were talking, you were in the bathroom, then you were in the kitchen. I mean, I know that she's saying something, and you're inside your house, and she's on the other side of that wall and that door. Were you able to ever see her to see if she had anything in her hands?
There's no peephole.
There's no peephole. Thanks. Okay. Were you able to look through a window or anything to see if she had anything in her hands or anything? Okay. So you don't know what's going on, but you can hear her voice.
Yes.
And you said that she's hitting the wall hard enough that was it the door?
Mirror.
That the mirror's moving.
Yes.
And she's hitting the door. Okay. And there's no peephole or anything like that. You don't know who all's out there, but you can hear her voice.
Yes.
Okay. What made you shoot that spot on the door? It sounds like you had some experience with the gun, so bring me to that moment where what happened.
I grabbed the gun. I was shaking like relief, and the more she bound me, the more she screamed. I was like, "Stop, stop, stop, go away, move away." She wouldn't move away. And finally, "I'm going to kill you," and that was the last time, and I just fired the weapon.
Okay. Was there a spot you picked or something like that?
I just kind of... there was the door. I knew she was at the door. Shot.
So since the last time you and I talked, I went in the house. We, did the stuff inside the house as far as photographing, looking at where everything is at related to where the door is. And you said you had shot from the kitchen. So when you come in, it's like a kitchen table.
The table that's there, the 2 seats with the table.
Okay.
That's where I shot from.
That's where you shot from. Okay.
Okay, that's
next
that can
to
bite
it,
her.
Yes.
or like further back.
It was I remember the table being there.
Okay. How were you holding the gun when you fired it?
Like
With
that.
2 hands?
Yeah.
Okay.
How high?
Now, you were initially in the kitchen when you went to the restroom, and then you were in the kitchen looking for your phone while she was pounding on the door. And you said that you believe it was between 2 and 5 minutes.
Yes.
Was that total time from when the first pounding started to the time that you fired the shot, 2 to 5 minutes, or do you think it was shorter time than that, or longer?
To me, it seemed like 2 to 5 minutes.
2 to 5 minutes total.
Well, by the time I shot the weapon, at least 5 minutes.
Okay. Did she ever try to open that glass sliding door or open the door handle or anything like that, or was it just the pounding?
I just remember her pounding and pounding and pounding.
Okay. So you said that you kept the firearm in the trash can in the bedroom, so at some point, did you go?
Yes.
So you thought about it and said, I might need this, or?
Absolutely. I mean, I got terrified. I mean, I was so terrified she was going to come in and kill me.
Okay, so you left the kitchen area?
Yes.
And that's when you went to your bedroom?
Yes.
Okay. Where was the other gun at that time? Do you know?
I thought it was right there.
The Ruger?
I thought the Ruger was right there.
I mean, we found, yeah, it was, but you said that you used the 380, right?
Yeah.
When you fired the gun? Okay.
Krista, I hope your
Is there
recovery
any
goes
reason why you
great.
chose that gun inside the other one? They were both loaded, right?
They were both loaded. I was just the one I picked up.
Okay. Did you handle the other gun at all?
I don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember.
Okay. Because the reason I asked is when we went in there, the 22 was actually on top of the 380. So, I'm just trying to figure out how it is that you went in there, took the 380, fired the 380, went back, and you would have put it back in there, but then the other gun was on top of it. So I'm just trying to figure out if maybe, you were just moving stuff around after things happened or something fell. I'm just trying to understand.
It may have fallen off the bed. I don't know. I just remember looking for my phone, and I just remember I put the gun back in. So, there's all kinds of papers in there, so it could have flip-flopped.
Is that an actual, do you use it for trash, or those important papers that were in there?
Those are papers that I keep.
Okay. All right. So you said it was about, let me ask you this, and maybe this can kind of help us get a better time frame. From the time that you called 911, these kids are on my property and they're yelling, what happened that first 911 call? That time that you hung up with 911, how long before she showed up and she was pounding on the door? After you hung up?
10 minutes.
10 minutes? Okay. So about 10 minutes after you disconnected and they said, hey, we have deputies on the way. 10 minutes after that is when she started pounding on your door. Okay. And you say anywhere from, you believe, from 2 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Mary Kay. 5 gifted memberships.
Is there... And I just want to be clear, 2 to 5 minutes from the first time she pounded to the time where you felt in danger enough to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Okay. And how many times, I know this is, how many times do you think she was hitting your door during that time frame that you believe is about 2 to 5 minutes?
She just kept pounding it. Just kept pounding it and pounding it.
Just more than 5, more than 50?
God, it had to be... I don't know. I can't even speculate. I just remember her pounding and pounding and screaming and yelling.
Okay. And did you call 911 immediately after?
As soon as I found my phone.
Okay. How much time do you think after you fired the shot? So within a minute?
Within a minute,
and you immediately called 911?
Yes.
Did you call anyone else before?
No.
Did you call anyone else after?
No, I don't think so, because you guys were here. And you guys came right away. So.
Okay.
They'll be able to
So
verify
we're
that.
just trying to figure out where some of these, we heard that you said the F word and the B word. These are what the kids are saying.
I definitely dropped F-bombs.
Okay, and what are you saying the F word to?
Pick your fucking shit up.
Referring to stuff on the ground or something? And when we say, sure. Okay. So Detective Stith has been talking to you about the timeline, okay, and some of the work we've done. Now, this is a picture that I drew. I'm not an artist at all, but when I tell you some of the work we've done, we spoke to all the people over. This is your house, by the way. Okay, this is we'll put an S for you. We spoke to everybody in these buildings. We spoke to them all in these buildings, and we talked to anybody that had cameras that would see different areas. These cameras, they hear things. We're able to hear audio. We're able to hear things like that. And everyone when we interviewed, I pretty much got the same, Detective Stith, I think we all got the same statement from every single person we interviewed. We lined up, well, we didn't line them up. These people were interviewed in different locations. Some of them were interviewed in different buildings, in different places. I interviewed them at different houses, and all these people provided me similar statements, okay? No one that provided these, now these people could hear her talking, okay? Because she was talking loudly. And, you said that you could hear her through the wall, and I can agree with that, okay? She made a statement, something to the effect of, why'd you take my kid's iPad? Okay, somebody heard her say that.
I never touched an iPad. I never saw the iPad. I don't know what this iPad is about.
A tablet or something like that?
Again, no tablet, no iPad, no electronics at all. It was never there, or at least I never saw it.
Okay.
So I have no idea.
Was she, maybe she's wrong, but was she asking you about a tablet or accusing you of something with a tablet or an iPad? I don't know if it's an iPad or a tablet. She could have? She could have. Okay. You seem unsure of some of the stuff she's saying through the door. Did she say you're not really sure if she said that?
She could have said it during her rants.
Okay. She's saying these things. The thing is everything that we've learned so far, I have not learned of her ever saying to you that she wanted that she wanted to get into the house. It sounded more like she wanted to talk to you outside of the house.
How do you want to talk to outside the house when you're banging and screaming?
Yeah.
That's not reasonable.
One of the people said that she said, "Come outside."
That's not. I'm sorry. That's not what.
It's not reasonable and prudent. I mean, you just don't, bang and expect someone to come out. Yeah, I think I'll come outside so you can,
Well, I know.
Seriously.
What she's learned, what I'm learning, what these people said is that she was saying to come outside. She wanted to confront you about something. She wanted you to come outside. Do you remember her making statements and asking you to come out there and talk to her?
I honestly don't recall.
Okay, so you don't remember that, and you seem unsure about some of the statements she made about the tablet. No one that we've interviewed so far has made any statements about her saying that she wanted to kill you.
That's what I heard.
Okay. You said you were so in fear and you're shaking. Is your memory affected regarding this incident in some way?
I just remember being terrified that she was banging and screaming, and I just remember hearing her say, "I'm going to kill you." Her son, early in the night, before I called the police, I don't know how old he is, but he said, "I'm going to make sure you get killed tonight."
Which son? She has two sons.
I know. I remember. It was one of her sons, but he was there. He's like, "I'm going to make sure you get killed. I'm going to make sure that you know." I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Has this person ever shown you a weapon or anything like that?
No. But, I mean, the little kid said it, and then all of a sudden his mom's coming over, and she's banging and screaming. And
now, I asked you this earlier. You said you can't see out there, but you've only seen her a few times. Mm-hmm. What means does she have to harm you through the wall?
Like I said, she was banging so much, everything was shaking and moving.
Now that house,
which I couldn't believe because it's a cement block house.
That was my next question. So it's a cement block house, and the door, the deadbolt was activated, right?
The deadbolt was activated.
Okay.
Right? And you just didn't have the chain lock?
I was going to say, I remember I didn't have the chain. I'm not quite sure if I had the deadbolt on or not.
Okay. I believe the last time we talked, you said you had the deadbolt, but you didn't want to get back close to the door to do the chain, is from what I recall. And you said you had the extra long deadbolt just installed recently?
Charles did it.
Okay, Charles.
So that's what the deadbolt's activated, the door's closed, it's a block house. I'm just trying to understand what made you so in fear of this woman if you have these things between you.
When we had spoken previously on the other time when she screamed at me and I finally acquiesced, I said, "Whatever you want, I'm so sorry." She followed me, a foot behind me, up until I went into the house. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, she gave me the creeps.
What happened during that incident where she followed you? What was the conversation?
She said, "Oh, you called my kids, I think a nigger and a slave or something stupid like that." And I'm like, okay, whatever, yes, I'm sorry, I apologize, and I finally said, I'll just, I'm gonna leave this alone. I don't need, to get killed in the street.
Did she tell you if she had recordings of you saying that? Or like one of the kids?
I have no idea.
But you apologize and she continued to follow you anyway?
Yeah, she followed me anyway.
How far did she follow you?
Like right up to where I go in by the wood.
By the fence?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what happened after that?
She finally just went away.
Okay. And how long ago was that?
That was like a month or two ago.
Okay. And was that an incident dealing with she had the dog and the kids were over there? No, that was something different. Okay. And I think that was, I want to say, was it April? Does that sound right? With the you had called because again the kids were over there, the dog was over there. Does that sound about right? Okay, but that was a different incident.
Yeah, it was a different incident. Yes.
And where were you at when you had that conversation where she started following you? Where were you?
I was in the street.
Okay. Like by the mailboxes or?
No, I was close to her driveway.
Close to her driveway, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Did she make any threats of physical violence to you then?
I can't remember. I honestly can't remember.
Okay.
She was following you and that made you feel creepy, right? Or creeped you out, I think is the word you said?
Yeah.
Okay, but there wasn't any threats of physical violence then. And you said...
why would you, if the conversation is over, why would you still pursue someone? I mean, to me...
Was she still saying things? Was she still...
No, she just followed me, and I just felt like, at any point in time, she could knock me down and do something, and I was like, oh my God. And I didn't want to tangle with her anymore.
And was it only her kid that you called a slave, or was there other kids in the neighborhood?
I never called anyone a slave.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said sorry for it.
I said I'm sorry for it because I didn't know how else to diffuse the situation.
Okay, so you told her that you did say that, but you're saying that you were saying it to diffuse the situation?
Yes. Absolutely.
So have you ever called any of those kids?
So, Susan, I'm looking at this from the outside here, and this really is not adding up to me. You used the word reasonable and prudent earlier. That's an interesting series of words to use.
Yes, it is.
That's like a series of words that we use as law enforcement officers when we try to look at things. And there's a big jump here that you're making logically that I can't seem to make the jump. I'm having a really hard time getting there. You've known this woman for 1.5 to 2 years. Your only communications were 2 to 3 times. The dog's pooping, and then there was another time where you called her, you said, I'm sorry about calling your kids some names, and she followed behind you. You thought that was creepy. She's never threatened you. She's never displayed a firearm towards you. She starts yelling on your patio area, banging hard on your door, which your door is locked, and then you're scared. Now you're saying that you're scared, which, okay, I can get to that. I can get to that point that you're scared there's someone knocking on your door.
No, it wasn't knocking, it was pounding.
Pounding. There's someone pounding on your door. Right. There's someone pounding on your door. They're pounding on your door, and I can't get to the point where pounding on the door leads to you being hurt or killed. I can't get that.
Because I thought she was going to break the door down. The door, you could see that it was all repaired and re-repaired and all that crap like that. So I never felt that door was secure.
You have an extended deadbolt, and you've never been in any kind of violent situation where someone's kicked in your door or like Kool-Aid Man through your entire wall. There's not been that situation. So I'm trying to do the reasonable and prudent. I'm trying to come into your shoes there, and I'm having a hard jump there because describe to me, AJ, what does she look like?
Tall black woman, heavy set,
Okay. Does she have a very muscular? But you've only known her for 1.5 years. You've only had so many communications. I mean, is she like a muscular person that's able to do extreme feats of strength? Does she weight train in her front yard? Help me understand this.
No,
that's what I'm trying. I'm having a hard time with this.
She's just trying to understand how we got from the point of someone.
And I don't see how that is entire. Were you on alcohol or anything like? I gotta ask these questions. Were there anything in your mind that would impair yourself in your judgments?
I took Belgica earlier in the day.
What is that?
It was for my back.
Okay, is that a narcotic? I'm not a muscle relax. I'm guessing here.
No, it's a pain reliever.
Okay, it's a pain reliever.
Mm-hmm.
And does that have like something on the bottle that it would?
It's a film.
Okay. Does that like don't use motor vehicles or something like that? What does it do to you? How does it make you feel?
It just makes me sleepy.
It's called, what is it called?
Belbuca.
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 Okay.
Does that have to do with your artery issue in your kidney?
No, I had a car wreck. So I had a fusion in my lower back. I'm sorry, fusion in my neck, and then laminectomy in my lower back. Mm-hmm. And I've got this thing that goes backwards. So I have some issues.
Okay.
And I have a torn rotator cuff.
Okay. And do you have issues with any kind of previous, from the car accident, I have to ask, a head injury which would impair your memory or affect your memory or anything like that?
I don't remember. I think I hit my head on the steering wheel from the accident.
Okay. Do you suffer time and spatial memory issues where you can't remember certain amounts of time and things like that? And the reason that I ask that is you have indicated that this was somewhere between like 5 to 10 minutes or something. Am I getting that right, Detective Stiff? Okay. From the cameras that we've looked at in the area here, this incident did not last for 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, from the people that we spoke to, there's aspects of this that I can agree about. She's talking loud. She's banging on that door. We're going to agree with that. But the actual number of knocks, you did 3 knocks, and then you said there was a pause.
Oh, I never said 3.
Well, you said bang, 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 and then she stopped, which I counted 3. Now, okay. If there was something different, you can tell me. I'm remembering earlier. You said bang, bang, bang. There was 3. Then she stopped, and then she continued to, and then what happened. Mm-hmm. Nothing has led me to believe as an investigator that it was like 5 to 10 minutes, okay?
Okay, maybe it just seemed like it was longer.
Okay.
Probably because, the adrenaline rush and just getting so upset.
Sure. Whenever adrenaline comes in, it can make things seem like they stretch out. From some of the other statements we've got, some of the things that we've learned, it sounds more like there was 3 knocks and then there was 3 more and then she was shot. It sounds like this was very quick. It sounds like this was like within a span of less than 20 seconds is what I would say. Is it possible that your time is off on this?
It could be.
Okay.
Because to me it felt like forever.
Okay. So
less than 20 seconds. That's not time to go.
If this is like what's being described as a 20-second, this is a brief encounter. It's a brief encounter with loud banging, with loud yelling. The statements that some of the statements that you're saying occurred, like I'm going to kill you and those kind of threats. No one else has heard you, and no one else has heard her make those statements. Okay, in your head. I'm not sure about some of the things we've talked about today. Regarding some of the things you're saying that you heard, is it possible she never threatened you at all?
Oh, I swear to God, I thought she said, I'm going to kill you. I mean, that's why I just panicked. As soon as those words came out of her mouth, I was like, Jesus Christ, she's going to kill me.
Okay. And how did you imagine yourself being killed? Remembering that there's that block wall, that door, how was she going to be able to do that? What makes you think that she was able to do that?
She was still pounding, but that she could have come right through the glass wall. I mean, the glass door.
Well, we talked about pounding on the door. Did she ever pound on the glass wall? Is it a window or wall? Help me.
It's doors. It's sliders.
Glass sliding door.
Yeah.
Did she pound on that?
She may have. I don't know. Well, I kept thinking that she's going to gain entrance. She's going to kill me.
And that's why I asked you earlier if you recalled if she tried to. Was that door locked? The sliding glass door? Yeah. Does that say? Do you have like anything?
I had I think there was a wood piece
in the slider.
Yeah.
Okay. And you don't recall if she tried that door?
I just remember lots of pounding.
Lots of pounding.
Just to me, it was just an enormous amount of pounding, screaming, yelling, and I felt like she was going to come through that door.
And I think Detective Pender touched on it. Like in your head, during the panic, during all these thoughts, what did you feel that was going to happen?
And she's going to come in there and beat the shit out of me until I was dead.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I felt. I mean, I don't understand why she came over my house. If there was all these issues and problems, why didn't you just call somebody? To me, that's what you would do if you're normal. That's a normal thing to do. If something happens to me, I call the police. Like, okay, the kids are being run or she's banging and, but when I couldn't find my phone and everything, I was just like, shit. I honestly, I felt she was going to kill me.
Okay, so during that time, you had hung up with
She keeps
911.
using
You still
terminology that's
estimate
important for
approximately 10 minutes
self-defense.
before the banging started.
Yes.
And then you saying anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes or longer that the banging and the yelling lasted. However, as Detective Pender mentioned, we've reviewed video. We've talked to multiple people out there who all kind of give a similar. I mean, everybody's perspective is different, and that's why I asked you this same question a couple of times, because people's perspectives, we could be both looking at the same thing, and later on you ask me you ask us the same question, and we have different reactions, different answers, because we focus on different things, we remember different things. That's why everybody's unique, and that's just the way it is. But to be that similar in some of the specifics of what we're really looking at. We're talking about a very tight, a much more tighter time frame of this incident that happened at your front door before that shot was fired. So is that possible? Is that feasible that it was a shorter time frame?
To me, it felt. I mean, I'm giving you what I felt and what I thought it was.
Okay.
You know.
All right.
Now that you're out of the moment, I mean, do you think that she could somehow get through that wall now that you're out, now that you're not in the house anymore, and that
I
you
still feel that fear. I just still feel she was coming at me. I'm sorry. It's what I feel.
Okay.
I just, it's been playing in my head over and over again, and I just kept thinking of that and how terrified I was.
Was your goal to shoot and kill her?
No.
What was your goal?
To shoot, and hopefully, she'd hear the shot and dissipate.
But you took aim at the door, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And the goal was to strike the door and to dissipate it. I'm having a really hard time making this jump here, that this unarmed person on the other side of the wall is somehow gonna get into your house and kill you. I'm just really having a hard time getting there. Some of these doors open inwards, outwards. I don't know which way your door opens. Which way does it open? It opens outward?
I think it opens out.
Okay. So it
opens inwards.
It opens inwards. Yeah. Okay. So I'm really having a hard time understanding, like, how you. If you could go back in time, would you not do what you did? Would you take it back and I don't know, wait another however long it took for the police to get there? I'm trying to understand that. Do you feel like you did something wrong here?
I did what I felt I had to. I honestly thought she was going to kill me. I mean, that's all I felt. I just felt that terror. I mean, it was sheer terror.
So I went out to the house that morning, when I met you out there. And first of all, I looked at the door. We processed the door just to see what areas might have been touched by AJ. I looked at the door frame where it had been repaired. It looked like there was a type of putty or something used where the wood frame had been separated. I examined the deadbolt lock, the strike plates were in there pretty fastened, pretty securely. The bottom lock, just the doorknob lock. And even with the door closed, I stood on the outside. There were no indentations, no dents in the door anywhere that I could see. And I'm not trying to take away the fears of being scared and everything, because I think that is a legitimate, scary situation to be put in. But to justify to go from being scared to a point where you're taking deadly force on someone who's standing on the other side of the door and you don't even know where you're shooting at, that's a big jump. And I think that's where Detective Pender is.
It could have been one of the kids standing there or something.
But it was her standing there. I mean, I heard her voice.
Sure, but some people don't talk. They're more quiet. So you've never had a break-in there before, right? Okay, no break-ins there. There's the rod in the track. Did you have, I know that you still spoke to this woman 2 or 3 times before. Did you speak to her earlier that day on Friday?
No.
Okay, so you didn't talk to her earlier that day, Friday. There wasn't, did you have any conflicts with anybody in particular on Friday at all?
just the kids when they're, well, it wasn't a conflict. I just told them, come on, stop trespassing, move along, take it. The kids kept putting things out. They had marbles by my truck. They put their skates out. I tripped over the skate one morning that I had to leave very early, and I'm like, crap. And I'm like, stop leaving your freaking toys here, I'm not the most stable person, with my knees and stuff like that. So when I'm walking, if I fall again, who the hell knows what's going to happen between my back and my knees and the other injury. And I don't understand why they just keep leaving the crap there, And I'm like,
That sounds frustrating.
It's extraordinarily frustrating.
You said there was a skate. Was there something that happened with the skate on Friday?
When the kids were there, they keep leaving the skates really close to the house. I'm like, stop already, because when you go around and you do stuff and you bring your packages in, sometimes I bring your truck up. I'm like, I don't want to walk over your skates and shit. I'm like, pick your damn shit up. So
where were those skates when you picked them up?
I'm going to say that they were maybe 5-6 feet of the sidewalk.
On the grass?
Yes.
Okay. And you took a photograph of that with your phone?
Yes.
Okay. And there was a video at some point. It looked like you were taking a picture or a video through the screen from you being inside to them outside. Because it looked like there was a bunch of them kind of further out in the field, but there was a lot of kids playing out there. And I guess
the screaming. You heard how much they were screaming over the TV.
Okay, so when you went out there, and one of AJ's kids was out there, and this is around the time frame where you threw the skates out into the yard or something like that. But this is also that was what was reported to us from a few people.
Yes.
But also during that time frame was where that tablet situation came up. So is there any reason?
I don't know what this tablet thing is.
It's like an Amazon tablet, electronic tablet.
I never saw the tablet. He kept saying, "Where's my tablet? Where's my tablet?" I had
so he did ask you about it, but you didn't have it.
Of course not.
So you never.
I never saw it, never picked it, never touched it up, and nothing.
Why would he make that part up?
I have no idea.
Because he said, and it really doesn't change. It doesn't change anything. I'm just trying to understand. He said that he was going to the basketball courts after they played in the field. He's like, I forgot my tablet, and he comes over and he sees you holding it, and he says, put it down, and you kind of tossed it down, and then that's when you threw the skates, and one of them hit him in the toe or the foot or something like that.
No, because they were standing here, and I threw it with my left hand.
Okay.
I made sure that I just threw them over to the other side.
And that's when you told him to fetch or something?
Yes.
You told him to fetch
I said, you can go fetch it over there now.
Okay.
Because he said, give me my skates. Get your skates. I'm like, here, go get them.
You already had them in your hand at that point?
I think so.
Okay. What were you going to do with them?
Just throw them on the other side. Just get them away.
So you don't remember the tablet or anything like that?
I never saw a tablet, never touched a tablet. I don't know where the hell the tablet came from. So I have no idea.
And then the situation with the umbrella. I know we had talked about it a little bit before, but do you remember who that was out there when? Was that when? Excuse me. Was that when the older AJ's older came over? What was he saying to you?
That's when he has said, I said, you guys need to leave. He said, I don't need to leave. I can be anywhere I want. I forget what the hell he said. Just something to the effect that I have no limits where I can go. I'm like, okay.
Okay, but he wasn't the one that was there when you tossed the roller skates into the yard. It was the other child.
It should have been both boys.
Were they both there with the roller skating?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you came out, the umbrella that was behind your door, was that the one?
Yes.
Okay. And what exactly happened with that? Because that's another one of those things where we were talking to people who were right there. Kind of, they already heard some yelling and back and forth, so they're kind of watching. And
I made the trouble with my hands. So
swinging the umbrella?
Yeah, just, come on guys, leave, and gesturing. So
how far away were they when you were doing this?
Oh my
where do you think you were at?
I remember being on the sidewalk, and then they were at least 5-7 feet away from me. Okay. They weren't even close.
What did they do when you were swinging it around?
Nothing.
They didn't do anything?
No, there was no reaction.
They didn't say anything? They didn't back away?
I honestly don't recall.
Okay.
It didn't rain on Friday. Why did you have an umbrella?
I thought it was raining. We had precip, and I thought when the kids got quiet that it rained finally and they went home.
So that's why you had the umbrella out?
Yes.
So it sounds like there's a lot of things going on with the kids that day. It sounds like you're taking videos. It sounds like the skates are in the way. You had to throw those because she says, "Give me the skates." You throw the skates, and then you're swinging the umbrella because they're not getting away. There's a lot going on with the kids. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Are the kids yelling that day?
Oh, they were screaming and yelling.
Screaming and yelling. Okay. It sounds like there was things going on with them, and then one of the kids' moms comes up to your house and knocks on the door. Is that right? Did she say what she was knocking on the door about? I don't remember if we covered that.
With AJ? Yes.
Yes, AJ. Was it about the umbrella, the skates, or something different?
I want to speak to you because you're talking to my sons. I don't like the way you're talking to my sons.
Okay, so she bangs on the door and she wants to, because we've talked about all the things that happened that day. She's banging on the door and she wants to address you regarding how you're talking to her sons.
Yes.
And there's already been that prior incident in the 2 or 3 times that you guys met, and one of those times it was you're talking to her sons and you're saying like racial things like that, racial slurs.
I didn't say racial slurs.
She said that you did.
She said that
okay.
I did.
So it sounds like she has a reason that she wants to talk to you, and she's banging on your door.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But she's enraged, she's screaming, she's not acting to me what would be like a normal, average, everyday, reasonable person. I mean, to me, that was someone who was really angry.
You're for certain that when you went to retrieve your gun, that's where you keep it in that trash can? That's where it was at? I'm sorry, did you remember what you were talking about? I didn't ask you this before, but I saw inside you have like it's almost a home office set up. Mm-hmm. Do you work from home?
Yes.
You do? So you're pretty much, you're always there and you're always having to be susceptible to whatever they do.
Well, I kind of want to go through my notes real quick, make sure that we covered everything. We covered a lot of things. Can I get you another water or anything while I go through this? Okay. Yeah, let me go through the notes and make sure we didn't miss anything here. And we'll be right back in.
Is there anything else that you need right now? Use the restroom or anything? Yeah. Use the restroom? Okay, give me just 1 second. Make sure the restroom is clear.
And we're back.
Okie dokie.
Were you able to go to the bathroom? Yes. All right. So, while we were going over everything, and my supervisor came in, he's actually kind of been listening a little. And something that caught my ear, like when we were talking earlier, you had mentioned the words, and I asked you to repeat it because I wanted to make sure I heard you correctly. You had mentioned terminology like reasonable and prudent in reference to how AJ was acting at your door while she was trespassing and everything. Where did that come from, that terminology? Is that
watching TV.
Watching TV? Okay. Like documentary stuff, or like what?
Probably just crime shows and stuff.
Crime shows? Okay.
Good answer.
And I have to ask you this. Have you done any research on like the laws as far as like in Florida, as far as self-defense and things like that?
I looked at it today.
You looked at it today?
When I was on Facebook. Just some things that, they had it up on Facebook.
Describe that. What did you, specifically, what you were reading about and learning about?
They said self-defense, and I'm trying to think of what else I looked at today.
Today?
So much crap. Mostly emails. But I just remember saying self-defense, and there was a bunch of lawyers and stuff like that.
So, prior to today, even the last time that you and I spoke on very early Saturday morning, you had used some of that same kind of terminology in describing the situation that occurred at your front door. Prior to today, had you ever done any kind of research like that? And before I ask, let me just say, if we were to look through everything in your phone or your home desktop computer, is there anything kind of research on your internet history that would show that you've done research on like self-defense? Or have you ever heard of the term stand your ground?
Yes.
Have you ever done any kind of research on that?
Yes, when it was mentioned on some guy shot someone at a convenience store, and they said stand your ground now.
Was that like a Florida situation? Because I know every state has kind of different laws.
I think it was Florida. I was Florida.
Okay. And when was that?
Years ago.
It was years ago?
Yeah, that was a years ago thing.
So nothing recent that would be on like your internet browser history?
I just looked it up today.
Right, but I mean other than basically before this incident occurred at your door, but we're not talking about like a couple years ago. We're talking about within the last few months. Would there be, because your internet browser, even if you delete it or you go on private browser, if you know, we take a look at those things, because we did go through your phone, the judge signed an order for us to be able to do that. So if that were the case, if we were just to look through that, would there show anything that you were looking up, stand your ground or self-defense laws in Florida on the internet?
I don't know. I look up tons of stuff.
Is it a possibility that you looked that up?
Could have been. I don't know.
Okay.
I look up. I just when I read articles, I just go and see why the laws were. So I want to know why. Like if they have an article, what happened in the situation? Well,
Susan, I think you know the reason why I'm asking that question. You're smart, okay, and the reason is...
Oh, hell no, absolutely. I know what you're thinking. Did I look up the laws so I could do something? No, absolutely.
This is not a situation where you set something up because you were tired of this person, you were tired of the situation that they put you in.
No.
Okay.
Sorry, no.
Okay, so while I was out there going through the notes and everything, I went through, so when someone calls 911, as soon as that call goes to our communication center, it logs it, gives us a timestamp, hour, minute, second, from the very first time that call was received to the time that it's disconnected, okay? And that's for every single time someone calls. So the first time when you called 911, talking about the boys out there trespassing and things of that. So that call started at 8:54 p.m. Does that sound about right?
Yes. I really wasn't looking at the clock right here. I just remember calling.
That's what time it says on our call center. And that call lasted for 5 minutes and it disconnected. At 8:59, deputies were on the way.
Okay.
8:59, that's the first one.
Now you estimated that it was approximately 10 minutes after you disconnected until the AJ started pounding on your door. Is that correct? Is that what? Okay. So the second 911 call where you called, lady was banging on my door, I shot her through the door. That call came into our call center, it was received at 9:01, which is 2 minutes after you hung up with the communication center the first time. So that's 2 minutes that all these things that you say occurred happened at your front door. From pounding and pounding and pounding and pounding, I'm going to kill you, all these things. Within 2 minutes, she showed up at your front door and did all these things to the time that you pulled the trigger, went and found your phone, and then called 911. So, and that's why I'm trying to get...
To me, it seemed like that amount of time. That's why I thought it was that amount of time.
Well, so clearly we've established that was not true, that's not the case, but that's what you felt it was. So you also told me that that's what you heard, that she was going to kill you. Is it possible that she did not say that, and that's what you heard or you believed, just like you believed it was 10 minutes between those calls?
I just thought she said, I'm going to kill you. I mean, that's what I heard. That's why I was so in fear of my life. I was like, Jesus Christ, she's pounding on my door. She's going to break in. She's going to kill me.
But is it a possibility? If you believe that it was 10 minutes to 15 minutes, adding in 10 minutes before it started, and then approximately another 5 minutes on top of that you believe that 2 minutes was 15 minutes, was it a possibility that maybe you thought you heard that, but it wasn't that what she actually said?
I have no idea. That's what I heard.
Okay.
I'm telling you what I heard.
But I can tell you right now, what we've learned, what we've discussed all leading up to this, it doesn't make any sense. So this is your opportunity to actually tell us that something that does make sense. I'm not going to hold it against you. I'm not going to get mad. But whenever AJ was coming over that evening, what happened? What happened? Bring me to that moment when you had the gun in your hand. What were you thinking?
All I wanted her was to go away. I just, I felt she was going to come through that door and kill me. I'm sorry, that's what I felt. I just felt she was going to come through the door and kill me. Okay. It was a tremendous fear.
Did you feel bad for what happened?
Oh, Christ, yes.
Because the first time that we talked, there was a point where I informed you that AJ had passed away. And I wasn't sure if you've been aware of that or not. I know they transported her in an ambulance from there.
I saw the video in CPR.
Yeah. So when I informed you that, you showed emotion. You showed what appeared to me to be at least somewhat of a remorse for what had happened. So do you feel bad for what had happened?
Absolutely.
You feel bad for the children?
Christ, yes.
So, and I think, Detective Pender we're trying to give you the opportunity to try to explain some of these discrepancies in the story, the things that don't really add up or make sense. And you maintaining that you were in fear for your life.
Yes.
It just doesn't make sense. And I feel like at this point, today you really haven't, and I'm not judging you, everybody processes things differently. So I understand that. But you haven't really seemed remorseful for today, at least, for what had happened.
Oh, God. It just makes me sick. I don't know. I can't take it back. It's transpired. It's in the past. I don't know what the hell to do. It's just probably be shutting down again.
Okay. Do you think that's a trauma response or something? I know you said you had gone through a lot of flat affect and things like that in the past.
I mean, it's a horrible situation. And inner conflict is horrible because, it goes against my faith. I broke the commandment. I feel horrible for what I did.
Okay. So,
Miss Mystery Master, welcome to the
back on
gallery.
it now,
Thanks for the super sticker, too.
Do you think that she was actually going to get through that door? I mean,
I honestly thought she was coming through the door. As God is my witness, I thought she was going to come through that door. I'm sorry, it's just what I felt.
So, I mean, at this point, like, we've talked to you, we've talked to a lot of people and gone through the evidence. Okay, and I think that wasn't reasonable what you did.
I felt so terrified. I just felt so terrified, here she comes again, again she's screaming, she's yelling, she's acting unreasonable.
I think you know that there were already deputies on the way.
There was times I called and the deputies never showed up.
I understand. It's been 2 minutes. So
to me, it wasn't 2 minutes. To me, it was much longer. In my mind, it felt like.
But there's only one reality where time exists, and I understand perception of time can be different for different people, but in the reality of things, you had just disconnected. Within 2 minutes a shot was fired through that door. There was that much that transpired within that 2 minutes where statements were made. I want to know why you're throwing stuff at my kids, or whatever it was she was saying, and then shot fired, and she's down, and then another 911 call comes in. So, I mean, at this point, we've discussed it with the state, and they are on the same terms as far as charging you with manslaughter. Okay.
Okay. I don't know what else to say. I was in fear for my life. I mean, honest to God, I just feared that she was going to come through that door. I'm sorry, that's how I felt. And I can't change the way I felt. I mean, it was sheer terror on my part. I mean, honest to God, I was shaking.
So, one of the things I want to ask, because at the point where I did let you know and I informed you, what had ultimately happened to AJ after that shooting, that she had passed away, and obviously she has 4 kids, and I was observing the interviews that were conducted with them and the emotions that they were going through. And you shared some of those same emotions at points through the conversations that we had. And I just want to, obviously I can't let you talk to them or give a message to them and face to face. But I would it's up to you if you would like to write them a letter or something to kind of, whatever's on your mind or in your heart.
You don't have to. We're just going to leave a notepad and a pen in the room. Obviously, we have some paperwork to do, so we're going to have to step out to do that, and obviously talk to our boss. We'll just I offer it to everybody that we can't let them talk to. So it's just something we do.
So if you'd like to do that.
We're going to get that paperwork going, like you said.
But that's where the state's at right now. That's where we're at. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about that in just a minute, okay? But if you'd like to write on something, that's right there, okay?
Head over there in a second. Can you go ahead and stand up? I need to get a picture of you before we walk you over. Stand up for me real fast. All right, can you take a step back? This is not a good camera for... All right.
Say cheese.
All right, hang on one second. I'm going to take the stick. We're going to go over there, okay?
Did she write something?
All right, Susan. All right, we're going to have you go with this deputy here.
No.
I'm sorry?
No.
No what?
I can't.
What's wrong? What's going on?
I just can't. I'm sorry, I can't do this.
It's too late to ask for a lawyer. Wow. This jury just saw that. Yes.
Yes, sir.
For the record, I have all 8 transcripts from the jury.
This is crazy.
In the video, in the interview that we just watched, you mentioning looking at some video. None of the video you looked at had any footage of the shooting or what happened right before the shooting, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Also in the video towards the end, the interview, and towards the end, we saw you give the defendant an opportunity to write something down on paper.
Yes, sir.
Did she do that?
Yes, she did.
Do you remember what she wrote?
No, I wouldn't want to quote without a copy of it. I'm not sure.
I'll show you a copy of the letter. You let the jury know what she wrote?
I am so sorry for your loss. I never meant to kill your mother. I was terrified your mom was going to kill me. I shot out of fear.
She stuck to her story.
I want to direct your attention to June 19th of 2023. Did you respond back to the defendant's residence?
Yes, I did.
Why'd you go there?
To collect the front door for evidence.
And had you obtained a search warrant signed by a judge that gave you permission to go and take that door?
Yes, I did.
Did you contact the landlord, Charles Gabbard, to let him know what you were going to do?
Yes, sir.
And prior to arriving there, prior to getting to her residence, did you stop anywhere and pick anything up?
Yes, prior to responding, I spoke with Mr. Gabbard, got the specifications of that front door that was currently there, and went to the hardware store, purchased the hardware and a new door to replace the one we were taking.
The police replaced the door?
So explain to the jury what happened when you arrived.
Wow.
When I arrived, we removed, me and my Sergeant Bartlett, removed the front door that appeared, it was the same door, and placed the new door we had purchased back on the hinges.
When you arrived,
Detective and handyman.
residence to take the door, were you still able to see the location of the original bullet hole that you saw on June 2nd?
Yes, sir.
Had it been repaired in any way?
Yes, sir.
How? Could you tell just by what it looked like?
It had been spackled over the front, outside of the door.
But the impression was still visible?
Yes, sir.
And was it in the same location as when you saw it on June 2nd?
Yes, sir.
Shadow, thank you for gifting a membership.
Except for that repair of the gunshot, the bullet hole, was the door in the same or substantially the same condition as when you saw it June 2nd?
It appeared to have been sanded, but otherwise in the same condition, yes.
Your Honor, it might be easier. May I ask the witness step down to come and look at the piece of evidence before I move it?
Sure.
Okay. Would you mind stepping down?
Normally the police will kick in your door and they're like, sorry.
Has the defense had a chance to see it?
I have, Judge.
Okay.
Showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit W for identification.
Oh, they brought the door.
You take a look at
They've
that.
got the whole door.
Eyes. You recognize it.
I'm gonna have to do the grand reveal and rip all this paper off. Tape the edges. You can see the hinge. He's like, I can't tell. It's,
Do you see your initials on the evidence tape and everything?
Yes, right there.
Okay. Can you please kind of cut away the packaging and look inside it comes
they brought the door. I'm sorry, I realize it's evidence. We've seen tires brought into court, but never the whole door. Make him carry it around and show the jury.
What is it?
It's the door that I removed from the defendant's residence.
Is it the same, substantially the same condition as when you removed it on, I believe, June 19th, 2023?
Yes, sir.
This time, state would move states W into evidence as states 21.
I can envision if the witness, as they approach, if the witness takes the stand in self-defense, now that this evidence is in, under direct, I'd like to see the witness standing at the door for a height estimation of the bullet hole. I think that's coming in. I think that will speak volumes as to her location. Where it would be impossible for her to be back in the kitchen when she made the shot.
Overrule the objection and be in evidence as states number 21.
Yeah, this is gonna. The prosecution has done a masterful job on this case, and they're doing it in record time. And here comes the door. Bring in the door. Aim the mics for the grand reveal, so we got the full ASMR effect.
Yes, sir.
Can you step down for me again?
They got on wheels.
If you can kind of continue.
Does the president bring the door frame? Okay, you can tear it. He's like, it's so loud. It's like Christmas morning in the courtroom. All the presents being opened at once. The prosecutor's like, you're going, let me help you. Let me help you. Don't you want to wear some gloves, sir? Now water all up into a very small ball. Oh my goodness. Leslie, thank you. That's funny. It's not boxing. This is funny, but this evidence is evidence old.
You see the repair done of the bullet hole?
Yes.
This is epic. I know it's tragic. It's terrible, and it's key evidence. But the fact that they're unboxing a door in court, it's the proper procedure to have it identified first before it's admitted into evidence. So they had to do it that way. There really wasn't a better way when they set it right next to the defendant.
I got one more, Your Honor.
Sure.
If they can get the defendant to reenact the shooting with how she was holding the firearm, this could be the nail in the coffin. I mean, I think she's already done for. It's just there's so much evidence that's gone against her story.
Good afternoon. We moved it. Do you need this out here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, no problem.
Hey, so you have this is yours because I'm just going to take it off so it won't be so loud.
I've heard of lawyers opening the door before, but here they just brought the whole thing.
The exterior door frame of Miss Lorincz.
Hold on. Wait. Let her finish that.
Please wad it up into a tiny ball and then stick it in the garbage can where it will crinkle for the next hour.
Go ahead, sir.
Actually, let's deal with the door first.
Okay.
So you can.
There's still too much paper there. They only unboxed the top half. There's still half the paper left. Worst ASMR stream
Parts of this door that seem like they've been painted over in some capacity?
Yes, sir.
One shot.
Yes, sir.
Detective, I'd like to show you what's marked as Defense Exhibit C. Is this a copy of the letter that Miss Lorincz wrote to the children of Miss Owens?
Yes, sir.
Is that a fair and accurate representation of the letter that she wrote?
Yes, it is.
This is going to be installed as the door on the jury room. So we'll have it right there.
The exterior door frame of Miss Lorinc's door to her residence did have damage. Is that right, when you went to see it?
Yes, sir.
The damage did not appear recent, right?
Correct.
The damage appears to have been repaired with some putty where the wood separated, correct?
Yes, sir.
And when you entered Miss Lorinc's kitchen area, when you went to the scene, you observed a single spent shell casing on her kitchen counter right next to the stove, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you also conducted research for prior calls for services between Miss Owens and Miss Lorincz, is that right?
Correct.
And you found prior calls for service dating back over a year placed by Miss Lorincz, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now, you reviewed the transcripts from the 2 interviews that you conducted with Miss Lorincz on June 3rd of 2023 and June 6th of 2023, right?
Yes, I did.
And you reviewed it for accuracy purposes to make sure that they were consistent with what Miss Lorincz told you on those 2 different dates, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, both interviews are pretty long, right?
Yes, they are.
So you obviously didn't memorize everything that you said in all of them, correct?
That's correct.
I'm going to ask you several questions about the 2 conversations that you had with Miss Lorincz. There may be some things that you don't remember,
texting, deputy.
correct?
No texting.
That's correct.
So would having a copy of those transcripts help you refresh your recollection? Should there be a question that I ask that you don't remember?
Yes, that would be helpful.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, sir.
It's interesting. He hasn't yet said he doesn't remember.
June 3rd transcript, and this is the June 6th transcript.
But in case he does, here's the transcript.
Just leave them there unless you need them. Okay. Just leave them there until you need them. Thank you.
And what I'm going to do, just to make this quicker, when I ask the question, I'm going to refer like what area in the transcript it's at in case you need to refresh your recollection, okay?
Yes, sir.
We'll start off with June 3rd. Now, on June 3rd, another detective was with you. His name is Detective Kip Peterson, right?
Correct.
And he was with you throughout the interview with Miss Lorincz?
On and off. He left the room a couple times. Yes, sir.
And Miss Lorincz told you that her birthday was July 23rd of 1964. Is that right?
From what I recall, that's correct.
Okay. And at that point, that would make her 58, almost 59 years old, right?
I'm not great at math, but that sounds about right.
Does that sound about right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes, sir.
Didn't come here to math.
I wouldn't be able to remember that on the spot, too, so I hear you. And obviously, Miss Lorincz told you that she had problems with the deceased Miss Owens in the past, right?
That's correct.
And she told you that Miss Owens had actually thrown a no trespassing sign at her, correct?
That's correct.
And she told you that she had some medical problems, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Including that her neck was fused, right?
Yes, sir.
And she told you, Miss Lorincz told you that Miss Owens came to her door and just started banging so hard that everything starts shaking. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And Miss Lorincz tells you that she tells Miss Owens that she really needs to leave, and then Miss Owens tells her that I'm going to fucking kill you as she continues to bang away. Is that right?
And we're speaking about the night of the incident on the
Yes.
second.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. She did tell me that.
Okay. And Miss Lorincz told you that Miss Owens banged so hard it looked like her door was going to fly off. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And Miss Lorincz told you that she really thought Miss Owens was going to kill her, correct?
Yes, sir. She did.
Miss Lorincz told you that she really feared for her life. Is that right?
She did tell me that, yes.
And she told you about her health condition that she had regarding an aneurysm on her left kidney artery where she's supposed to stay calm because of it. Is that right?
She did, yes.
She told you that she told you all this was going on while all this was going on in regard to Miss Owens banging on her door and pounding her door, that she was shaking, right?
Yes, sir.
She told you that Miss Owens was trying to come inside, correct?
She said that she believed that Miss Owens was trying to come inside the house.
And Susan told you that Miss Owens was trying to push in the door. Is that right?
So I don't remember her saying that. I just remember her using the terminology as banging on the door.
Okay. If you'd like to refresh your recollection, that is on the June 3rd transcript on page 13, lines 6 through 7. Page 13, June 3rd transcript. And that's lines 6 through 7. And just review that, and then I'll ask the question.
Yes, sir.
Susan, Miss Lorincz told you that Miss Owens was trying to push in the door. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And at that point, she's telling Miss Owens to leave, right?
Yes, sir.
And then she says, Miss Owens keeps telling her, I'm going to fucking kill you, I'm going to fucking kill you. Is that right?
Yes, sir, that's what she told me.
Miss Lorincz also told you, as all this was going on, that she was scared and terrified. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Miss Lorincz told you that Miss Owens was screaming for all she was worth, right?
Yes, sir.
And Miss Lorincz told you she was asking Miss Owens to stop, but she didn't, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, when you informed her that Miss Owens had passed away, that is when she started weeping and crying. Is that right?
That's correct.
And Miss Lorincz told you that all of this occurred because Miss Owens was pounding on her door and she thought she was going to come in, correct?
Yes, sir.
Miss Lorincz told you that Miss Owens was pounding and pounding on the door and scaring the shit out of her. Is that right?
That's correct.
And she told you that she was an absolute terror. Is that right?
She did tell me that, yes.
Miss Lorincz told you that Miss Owens was violent, right?
I don't recall her saying that she was violent.
If you go to page 30 of that first June 3rd deposition,
yes,
line 23, sir. And take your time, please.
He's allowed to lead on cross.
Page 30, line 23.
And he's basically summarizing a lot of comments that the state glanced over.
Okay.
She told you that Miss Owens was violent, right?
Yes, sir.
And she told you that she was fearful for her life, right?
She did say that, yes.
Miss Lorincz told you that the door was broken, the whole side panel, even before this incident occurred, correct?
She did.
And she told you that as Miss Owens was pounding on the doors, she was pounding it so hard that everything was just rattling, and it sounded like a horse kick. It was so loud, right?
She did say that was rattling, yes, sir.
And she told you
sometimes
it sounded like
dizzy,
a horse kick,
sometimes.
right?
I don't recall that.
Page 32 of that same transcript, lines 19 through 21, if you'd like to refresh your recollection.
You said page 32, I'm sorry?
Yes, sir, page 32,
She did
lines
say it
19
sounded
through
like a horse
21.
kick.
Yes, sir. All right.
She told you that she felt like she was in mortal danger, correct?
She did, yes, sir.
She told you that she usually has a chair propped up against the door, but she didn't have it that night or have the chain on her door either, right?
Correct.
She told you that as Miss Owens is pounding on that door that you could actually physically see her door moving. Is that right?
She did say that, yes.
She told you that she absolutely feared for her life and that it was either me or her, right?
She did tell me that, yes.
She told you that it was dark outside, her lights were off, and Miss Owens is pounding on the door, correct?
Yes, sir.
She told you that she felt like she was in imminent danger. Is that right?
Yes, she did.
She told you that Miss Owens had pounded on the door once before in the past and had actually damaged the door. Is that right?
I don't recall her saying that she was the one that damaged it.
Page 42 of that first page 42 of that first transcript, lines 2 through 4.
We did have the ME.
Yes, sir.
In the form of an expert witness.
She told you that Miss Owens in the past had pounded on the door and had damaged the door, right?
Yes, sir.
She told you that she thought Miss Owens was coming through the door because everything was shaking, and even the mirror that was on the wall was shaking as well, correct?
Correct.
Now, you told her that it was not safe for her to go back to her house after this incident, right?
I said that I did not believe that it was safe for her to go back to her house, yes.
Okay. I'd like to speak to you a little bit about the June 6, 2023 interaction that you had with Miss Lorincz. The transcript is right there if you need to refresh your recollection. If you do, just let me know what page and what line, and we'll work it out, okay?
Yes, sir.
On that day, June 6th of 2023, she again, Miss Lorincz, told you that day, Miss Owens told her on the night of the incident that she was going to kill her, right?
Yes, sir.
She told you again on that day, June 6th of 2023, that she thought Miss Owens was going to break down the door, correct?
Correct.
She told you on that day, June 6th of 2023, that her heart was pounding and that she thought that Miss Owens was going to kill her, right?
Yes, sir.
She told you on this day that if Miss Owens was to come into her residence, that she would pound her. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Miss Lorincz told you on that day that if Miss Owens was to come into her residence, that Miss Owens would pound her into the ground. Is that right?
She said that's what she believed would happen, yes.
Yes, sir. Miss Lorincz told you, June 6th of 2023, that she told Miss Owens as she was banging on the door that she was trespassing and to leave, correct?
Correct.
Miss Lorincz told you on this June 6th of 2023 interaction that you had with her that when Miss Owens was banging on the door, screaming at her that she was going to kill her, that Miss Lorincz felt that Miss Owens was literally going to come into her house and kill her, correct?
Correct.
Welcome, Kara. Once you're here, you can never leave.
She told me in this following statement that Miss Owens had picked up the no trespassing sign and threw it at her, right?
Yes, sir.
Miss Lorincz told you and Detective Pinder that one of the times that Miss Owens told her, "I'm going to kill you," is when she fired the weapon, right?
That's correct.
She told you that after she told Miss Owens to stop, go away, move away, and she wouldn't move away, that's when she shot, right?
I would have to review the transcript on that.
Page 31 of that June 6 transcript, lines 2 through 3.
The defendant.
I'm sorry, 21?
Yes, sir. Page 31.
31.
Yes, sir. Lines 2 through 3.
Aside from talking to the police, the defendant said most of the right things. Other than her story doesn't match up. She said what she needed to say to match the Florida law. Unfortunately, there's not the other side of that
Yes, sir. She
aggravating
told you
factor
that
that needs to exist.
after she told Miss Owens to stop, go away, move away, and she wouldn't move away, that's when she shot, right?
Yes, sir.
She told you on that day that she was terrified that Miss Owens was going to come in her home and kill her, right?
She did say that, yes.
She explained to both of you that she remembered that what she remembered was Miss Owens was pounding and screaming and yelling, right?
Correct.
Stephanie, 12 witnesses they have on the schedule. 12. Half what the states have.
She also told you that the door was repaired and re-repaired, so she never felt that the door was secure, correct?
She did say that, yes.
She told you in this second statement that she had a fusion in her neck and a laminectomy in her lower back, and she had this knee that goes backwards, right?
Yes, she did.
And she also had a torn rotator cuff, right?
I believe I remember that from the second interview, yes.
Yes, sir. And she told you, and I quote, "I did what I thought I had to. I honest to God thought she was going to kill me. I mean, that's all I thought. I just felt that terror. I mean, it was sheer terror," correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, based on your review of Susan's phone, it does not appear she deleted any data. Is that right?
That's correct.
If I may have a moment, Your Honor?
That's important. She did not delete any data, or data in this case. And we've got a long pause.
With the defendant, you indicated that you felt it wasn't safe for her to go back to that residence, right?
That's correct.
Was that because she had just shot a member of that community and the community was upset about it?
That's correct.
During your interviews with her, did the defendant tell you that the door, the metal door we see here in the courtroom, was closed when she fired?
Yes, sir.
Did she tell you the lock on the door was engaged when she fired?
Yes, she did.
Did she tell you the deadbolt as well was engaged when she fired?
Yes, sir.
When you were there on scene, did you see any evidence of fresh damage to the door jamb?
No, I did not.
You mentioned earlier when Mr. Franz was asking you some questions that you saw some putty there.
That's correct.
Did you also see new strike plates put in?
They appeared to be newer than the door.
For both the lock of the door and the deadbolt?
Yes, sir.
Were those strike plates, did they have screws screwed into the frame?
Yes, sir.
Did you see any splinters, wood fragments, anything to suggest there was damage caused by this incident on the floor?
No, I did not.
Did you see any wood splinters, shards, shavings, anything to indicate there was fresh damage from this incident from the door jamb?
No, I did not.
Thank you, Detective. No objection.
May we approach?
Sure.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Objection, may we approach? On what? Those are what they objected to. Did you see any splinters? When I say that the evidence doesn't match what she said, I'm speaking specifically the timeline. And that if what the police said is true, and the police can lie in interrogation, they can and will and do. I mean, don't believe anything the police tell you in an interrogation. If they do have some other audio recording of the event,
I'll have you step out just for a few minutes. We'll come back in a few minutes.
The timeline's a problem. Because everything she said happened as far as conversation, going back and forth, what they said, what she said, had to happen in 2 minutes. And then she's also got the break in there, but she says nothing happened for a while, for a couple minutes, and that's going to be problematic.
All right, you want 1 second.
Let the door close.
All right, the door is closed. Just because of the times we're at the bench here, I just want the record to be clear. First of all, regarding the objection on the door, you objected because I guess there was some of the damage had been repaired.
Yes, sir.
What I found is that despite the repair, you can still see where the bullet hole was, which is relevant in this case. So that's why I overruled your objection to that and let it into evidence. You have an additional matter you want to bring up with the court at this time?
Yes, sir. Mr. Buxman, in redirect examination, specifically asked Detective Stith why it was that he felt that Miss Lorincz couldn't go back to her home, and he said, I believe that she was in danger because she had shot someone in the community was upset, etc., etc. I believe that question and his answer in redirect opens the door for a issue that Your Honor ruled was not admissible, i.e. that after the fact, Miss Lorinc's door was not damaged, but it was painted over, or not painted over, I'm sorry. There were negative things that were put on the door about Miss Lorincz, and that her home was burglarized. I believe now that the door has been opened, that we should be allowed to ask Detective Stith about that. But before I did that, I wanted to discuss it with Your Honor to make sure Your Honor has permission to go forward.
The door, open the door.
That is our request, and we believe the door has been opened on that issue.
And it's right there.
Is there any indication that any of the people who were witnesses here in the trial did any of the damage?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. So what relevance would it have that after the whole thing's over, some person or persons may have damaged the door?
Well, Your Honor, The relevance is that, the community was upset with, Ms. Lorincz after the fact, and before the fact too, which is clear from the evidence that's been presented, and it would go to one of the reasons why Ms. Lorincz was upset and why she did what she did and why she felt that she had to shoot through that door. So it goes to her state of mind as well, and it's evidence of why she had fear before this incident occurred, because of the issues in the community with her.
Sure, go ahead.
If I could just put on the record, so when Mr. Buxman asked Detective Stiff why the reason he believed it wasn't safe for her to go back to her home, I think that then opens the door for the defense to be also able to question him about, well, also, as a matter of fact, Miss Lawrence's home was burglarized very shortly after this incident, where there was writing on the door, her windows were damaged. I think that explains a little bit of the reason why somebody painted over the door, which has already been come out into evidence. But I think by Mr. Buxman specifically asking this witness that question as to his opinion, you can't just give part of the answer to say, well, it's because there was a shooting of somebody in the community and the community's upset, and leave out the second part, and also this community burglarized her home. So I think by asking that question, Mr. Buxman opened the door that we should be now allowed to bring in this additional reason.
What's the state's position?
Your Honor, my question was in response to Mr. Carranza's question on cross-examination about the interview with him specifically telling her on June 3rd that he didn't think it was safe for her to go back. My question followed up and focused solely on that statement on June 3rd as far as why he said that to her. That in no way opens the door to something that happened days or potentially weeks after he made that statement to her at the interview. One has nothing to do with the other. So the door is not even close to being opened. And secondarily, what some unknown person may have done after the fact to this door has no relevance whatsoever as to why he made that statement on June 3rd.
I disagree.
All right. Anything else you want to add?
Judge, just that the state's own evidence, they played the interview where the detective specifically said to Susan Lawrence, I don't feel like it's safe. So we didn't open any door on cross. They already elicited that testimony during the direct and their interview. I just want to put that on the record.
I think they opened the door.
Okay. Well, it's a fair enough point. It was brought out. It was in the interview, which we've all had lots of litigation over this interview, and no one has really mentioned that as being problematic in any way. Mr. Carranza then questioned him about it. In addition to the fact that it was played, he also brought it out again, and the state asked a single question regarding that. So, yes, it was played in the state's evidence,
yes,
but it was then highlighted by the defense. But more importantly, I'm not sure what anyone is referring to when they say the community, because as far as I know, there's no evidence of who damaged the door or wrote anything afterwards. So to attribute that to any particular group of people is without evidence, right? We're just saying the most any of us can say is that somebody after the fact damaged the door. That's the most any of us can say. However, I don't find that to be relevant to any of the particular issues in this case, particularly the issue of self-defense, because it happened after the fact. So it could not have been on her mind at the time of the offense. There's no evidence of who did what, so I don't find it to be relevant. I note your objection. Is there any additional questions you'd like to ask this person before he's released?
Judge, can we just do a proffer real quick while the jury's out?
Sure.
Do you want to just proffer?
Sure.
I disagree with the judge.
Detective, after the fact, after this incident, were you, either through your investigation or other individuals that work for the Marion County Sheriff's Office, did you come to find out that there was damage caused to Ms. Lawrence's door and her property, or the property that she rented?
Yes, sir.
And what damage was caused?
I couldn't really speak to that. I was working this investigation that we're discussing today. I was told through other detectives who responded out to the scene to conduct further interviews and canvass the neighborhood, that while they were there, they were alerted to some damage that had been done to the defendant's property. I didn't respond that day. I didn't see the damage myself. I was just told.
What were you told in regard to the damage?
There may have been some broken windows and some things spray painted on the front door.
Do you know if the house itself was burglarized? In other words, did anyone go in and either take property, destroy property inside, anything like that?
I don't know.
Any other information that you received besides the writings on the wall and some broken windows?
No, sir.
Okay. No further questions.
I just want to put a couple questions in the record, Judge, and then I'm
Sure.
So this damage that was done to the door at Susan Lawrence's house, that was done before you actually went out and left the door?
Yes.
And is that the reason why the door was painted over, because of that language or that damage?
I don't know why it was repainted.
Okay, that was done before you left it?
Yes.
Ooh.
In addition to the reasons I gave originally, I would point out that this witness has no personal knowledge of what he's testified about. It's all hearsay because he said he didn't witness anything. Everything he testified to, he was told by somebody else, which would also make a hearsay. So again, overrule the objection. Anyone have any other questions for this particular witness?
Not from the state.
Is he excused?
Yes, sir.
All right. You're excused, sir. Thank you.
Transcripts.
You have another witness, right?
Yes, sir.
The jury's already out on break. I was going to give us a break anyway, so we'll take about 10 minutes or so. 10, 15. We'll give you 15 minutes, everybody. All right, thank you.
15 minutes. Hey, there's the bird. Photographer gave us the bird, finally. All right, while they're out on break, 15 minutes. What time is it now? Man, I've got to turn that down. That is just so bad. I can see the judge's point on why it's not relevant, but I do think that the state did open the door. You can't say, well, the state brought this in, but you highlighted it. I think the door was opened when the state introduced that evidence, and they just basically had him restate it. So I don't think the restating can be opening the door. And the state then went one step further and asked further questions. I think the argument that the door was modified, it sounds like by the police, that they painted over the damage. Is that a possibility? They painted over yeah, crazy. Anyway, it's not going to be a big deal either way. The testimony that the police, the gentleman on the stand right now, that he gave, where he said that it would not be safe for her to go back home, that Sarah would not be safe because the people in the neighborhood are upset about what had happened. That it seemed that was, yes, this happened after the spray paint on the break-in, the broken windows, possible burglary. This happened after, but that just means that at the time there was a problem. I can see the judge's ruling, but at the same time, I think it's not relevant, right? But I think they did open the door, but kept out on relevancy, so it's all good. All right, we have one more witness for the state, and let me clear this off here. All right, the landlord fixed that one. I know the landlord did the putty, but I'm not sure about the covering up the paint and all that. It was a cover-up. It was a cover-up. I will tell you that Robert Tellis is starting. We're gonna be going there next, and we're gonna take that live. Well, not live, as live, and then get caught up with that trial. Can we watch Judge Simpson and Mr. Contempt during the break, if we can find it? Let's see. I need a camera 6 to. Give me a second here. I need this audio off. See, there's Tellis. We're gonna go back and take Tellis in just a minute. Well, just as soon as this trial's over for the day. So many trials. It's like feast and famine, right? I've said this several times, but sometimes we have like a week or two that go by that nothing is happening, and now we have Sarah Boone hearing going on right now. Robert Tellis just started opening statements. We've got the ending of the state's case in the bad neighbor trial. We've got a couple other crazy trials, torture trials, things like that, things that we're not going to cover on the channel, but absolutely nuts. So BK, new documents out, state's opposition to a change of venue, and we're trying to see if we can find Judge Simpson, and I'm not sure if it's still up there. Let's see. Let's see. Where are we at? Give me a second to find this here. Did somebody send me the link already and I just miss it? Okay. So here's Bad Neighbor. Put this up in Windows 6. I can keep that on standby. Okay, can we hear anything there? No, it's quiet. Then we'll use camera 2, if I can find the remote, to see if we can find Judge Boyd. Because he had a gentleman who was in his courtroom, not Judge Boyd, Judge Cedric Simpson. Judge Cedric Simpson. He had a gentleman in his courtroom that got hit with a whole bunch of contempt of court charges, like a lot of them. Mathis, what day was the 6:30 and a few seconds yesterday? That's this one. Give me a second, see if we can find it. 6:30. That's right at the beginning. Oh, it's right at the end. Made him wait till the end of the day. Let's see if we can bring this up. Is this the right one?
Mr. Brown, I see you.
I'm trying to sneak in. What do you think?
Oh, I know. Because the exam, the courtroom's going to be closed, so I'm trying to get everybody out.
Oh, me too?
You especially.
Is this the one? 6 hours, 30 minutes yesterday.
Oh, there they are. I'm sorry. I didn't see. Court does call the cases of the people versus Daryl Jarrell.
Daryl Jarrell. Here we go.
Conrad Solar on behalf of Pickles Township.
Ron Brown appearing on behalf of Daryl Jarrell, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Daryl Jarrell.
Good afternoon.
Defense counsel has filed an emergency motion to attempt to purge the contempt in this matter.
You better have Tourette's or something.
You have.
And I first give the floor to my client.
Pardon?
I'm giving my client the floor.
Your Honor, there's no excuse for what I done, man. I lost my composure and I directed my frustrations at you. I apologize for being disrespectful to you and your court and wasting time, the people. Hopefully you accept the apology and reconsideration of the time you've sentenced me to. Thank you.
Your Honor, we have referred him to our aimed social work division to help him work through some of the personal issues that he's going through that culminated in his outburst in court. You've been a judge for a very long time, set a very high bar for people as they appear before you. I think we communicate differently. Some people, even though it's socially inappropriate, use profanity, and profanity can be used as an attention getter. And I think it got the court's attention, but he's in need of services.
Oh, he did.
He's in need of services, Your Honor. He's in need of services, and we're trying to sort through a plan to present to the court.
This is
If
the
you
FU
would
guy. Yeah.
accept his humble apology to help him move the cases forward.
Anything from the people.
Well, Your Honor, we were all present for it. I had a chance to review the video. It's actually worse than what the court noted.
The judge missed one.
I'm sure the court has seen the video, but it was worse than what the court noted. I will leave it to the discretion of the court, but if there's going to be a modification or change of the sentence imposed by the court, I would certainly like there to be a plan in place for Mr. Terrell. That would be the minimum or would be to alter or change his sentence.
Is the judge in a good mood?
Terrell, what was going on with you?
Well, there's a lot of issues that I'm under currently. One, I'm unemployed. I can't obtain a driver's license. Without those, it's hard to provide for yourself. The charges, once we get into it, you'll see that they're frivolous charges. They should have never been brought to the court's attention.
This isn't helping.
They're minute trespassings that aren't even trespassing. I used an easement for one, and the other one should have been
The lawyer's
dismissed.
like, stop.
Just frustrations, man. There's no excuse for what I've done. You wanted an in-depth look. I shared some things. I mean, it falls on me, man.
No, it does.
And he realizes that
Year and a
this
half
case,
of contempt.
Many other people are watching, and how the court how the court handles it. We're hopeful that others won't use this as an example to act out as well.
Well, but from the very beginning, the one thing that, as Mr. Brown correctly points out, I've been doing this a minute. And, Mr. Terrell, you were in my court, and I watched you because you were sitting in the back. And you were sort of a dichotomy of things for me. Because as you sat back in the back of the courtroom, you sat there very respectful. You had your ball cap on. You came through, you took your ball cap off. You did everything. You sat in that back row, just patient as all could be.
Then
you came up. You again, initially it was fine. You were maybe upset by the charges, but a lot of people were like that.
Right.
And it was going fine, and I could overhear, just so that you understand what I was trying to do, I overheard, as you were talking to your attorney, that you didn't have a phone.
Right.
You didn't have email. More than anything in the world, I was worried that you weren't going to be able to have adequate time. I would have just normally set it 2 weeks out.
He's got time.
Whatever. And I was trying to give more time, not to delay it, but to try to make sure that if you had to get in touch with Ms. Perrony by letter, you guys had to do that or do whatever.
Yeah. See, I was thinking
that there be time for that to happen.
The lawyer's like,
and it seemed to aggravate you, but I think, when I look at it, you were aggravated because you thought the system was kind of dragging out.
Good.
But I was doing that for your benefit.
My apologies. I'm again misunderstood.
And so then when you wanted me to, then you wanted it done sooner. So then I said, okay, I'll move. I just said, well, move up to date. I didn't know it wasn't going to be helpful for you, but what the heck? And then that's when you went off.
I did.
And
he went off too.
I've had people go off in front of me before. Doesn't bother me. It's going to happen.
It does bother
yes. But
hey,
you
Roberta.
Just got yourself worked out.
Welcome. Thanks, Kenny.
To the point that as you were headed down and out, I'm just thinking, you're not, I don't know why you want to battle. It's a battle you can't win.
Right. Silly me.
Yeah, silly, stupid. There's a lot of words. Maybe start with that because it didn't make any sense.
No, not at all. You're right, man.
He dropped the F-bomb directly at the judge 6-7 times.
And I'm going to tell you something. And I'm not saying this to embarrass you.
Back and forth.
Because you're in good hands with the folks at the public defender's office. You need a break, right?
Yes, sir.
You need something to go in your direction.
Yes.
Yeah. And it seems everything, you can correct me if I'm wrong, everything you had been doing, none of it was quite working out. Trying to get rid of stuff. This was one of the things you wanted it done and gotten rid of so you could try to move on to that next thing.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying this again, I'm not saying this to embarrass you, but sometimes things get tough
before they get better.
You get yourself wound up. You get to a point, and then for a brief moment you regret it. You're not sure where to head. Am I right?
Yeah, sometimes.
And I think even that day, for a brief moment, you regretted what had happened.
Absolutely. As soon as I said it, but I was fueled.
And it's because when you got back there.
Does he look like James Hetfield?
And all of a sudden that door shut behind you and locked up.
Metallica.
You realize something.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And as it was described to me, right or wrong, you were sort of laying there on the floor crying.
Wrong. I was sorrowful.
I wasn't crying, Judge.
Yeah. I may or may not. No, I don't recall.
Just listen. There's no embarrassment. There's not.
Just say yes.
I got it reported to me.
Right.
Because I was worried about you. I didn't. Nobody was trying to say to embarrass you or do anything. You had gotten yourself to a certain point. Something got out of control. And now you had to figure, you took a circumstance that was kind of bad, made it even worse. Now you had to figure out how to get out of that.
Right. Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Just let the judge finish. Don't talk, sir.
You had left here that day. You don't have a place to stay, do you?
No, I'm currently homeless.
Yeah.
The Delana Center.
Pardon?
The Delana Center.
But are you there most of the time?
They have a waiting list period.
Yeah.
So as long as you continue to check in, I think they do a triage. To know that you're interested in a room there. They'll continue to screen you, and when one comes available, they'll offer it for housing. Until then, you sleep wherever you can, you know, couches, wherever, tents, bridges, parks. As long as the cops don't push you along, you know.
Yeah, the judge did his homework on this guy.
So the reality is you didn't have a place to go, right?
Oh, no, I don't have a place to go. No.
All right.
Judge, he's even sleeping.
Pardon?
He was sleep deprived. He's sleeping. He's got a roof over his head.
I probably was sleep deprived a little bit too. Man, I couldn't stop falling asleep. Did you notice that? Couldn't, man.
I just thought it was my relaxing voice and personality. Mr. Allen, actually today, you look a whole lot better than you did that day.
Thank you. I feel better too.
Before you came in, when was the last time you ate?
I ate probably the day before.
So you hadn't eaten that whole day?
No.
Oh, man.
I actually went to eat, but I didn't have enough time to jump on the bus and come back, so I skipped it. Yeah. I think I may have had some donuts for breakfast, though.
Okay.
I think I may have.
What do you think I would do with you after what you did?
You can do anything you want with me, Your Honor.
Oh, I know I can.
What I would like you to do for me is to let me go, and we'll have continued scheduling of the September 4th date. And you'll see that I've told you the truth about the charges that are pending. They'll probably even get thrown out by then.
Pardon?
The prosecutor reviews them. They should probably get thrown out.
His confidence is amazing.
You know, probably you're about to try to make another mistake. And that is you're trying to practice law, even though it's about your case and you don't have a law degree. Why don't you leave it to the experts that are around you? Yeah.
Sounds good.
I think he's suggesting that you suspend or hang it over his head. Contempt, if not, purge, Your Honor.
The lawyer wishes he had like a little shock collar on him to get him to shut up.
I got it here, in here. It was the 7th. Today's the 5th.
Set it for September.
No, I know I set him for September, but I said sentence. That's what.
I think if they set this for another date, he is going to leave the state. He's already said he's going to leave the state. I think he will. They're going to extend it. They're going to let him go, and he's going to disappear. And he'll never be back to the state of Michigan. And I think the judge knows that, honestly. That it's going to be Frog 2.0. He's going to get out and he'll be gone. That's my bet. Judge is doing the calendar work. You can tell the judge did his homework on this. He found out, how he was in jail. Just basically said, "Hey, jail, check on this guy." It did his homework. He knew where he sat in court, knew how he behaved, knew that he was homeless, related to some of the situation that he was in, and he's got a soft spot in his heart because he knows the guy's down and out, luck-wise. And this isn't a violent assault; it's a trespassing charge.
Yeah. You can't just let you walk away from it. What you did is, and so that you understand. This really isn't about you or me. It's about you, but it isn't about me. You can say all those things you want, but the one thing in the past 25 years I will tell you, I do not let people just disrespect this institution and walk away.
Right.
Sorry. It won't happen with me, and I'm sure Mr. Brown has told you that. I just don't.
Okay.
I understand, however, and balance that against sort of where you are and what you're trying to do. So we're currently set for September 4th at 9 a.m.
So 3 weeks out, basically.
What I'm going to do regarding the contempt, I'm going to work it this way. I will grant, to a certain extent, the motion, and I'm going to reformulate the 558 days that you talked yourself into. And when you're back there thinking, think about this, how you took a case with a maximum 30-day sentence and parlayed that to 558 days.
Right. Oh, goodness.
So what I'm going to do is,
while you're back
there, take the 558 days. I will indicate defendant is to serve 93. I will give him credit for the 6 that he's been in and suspend at this time the balance. When we come back, so it's down to 93 now. When we come back on the 4th, I'll consider whatever else I might do regarding that sentence.
As soon as we're done, we're going
whether
back to
or not
court.
You serve the rest of it is going to be dependent upon your behavior, how you come into court. I don't ask anybody to talk up to me. They don't have to like me. That's not my job. I'll tell you what, I like this Jarrell better than that other one I saw.
Right.
So let's just keep that up. You'll at least, and I don't like doing it this way, and I don't like saying it, you'll have a place, right? You're going to be eating regularly, and you're going to be looking a whole lot better, I think. I don't like doing it this way, but maybe some benefit can come out of it, and you'll be able to get with their AIM division and see if we can just get certain things in place for you.
Right on.
All right, fair enough?
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I can ask for. Thank you.
Well, I'll tell you what, don't thank me. That man standing beside you, that's who you need to thank, because he was on me, and he was trying to explain and trying to make sure he didn't want to say anything off the record without Mr. Siller there, but he was in your corner batting for you. And so you ought to be thankful for that, because quite frankly, whether you sat there 558 days or not, I was going home for dinner. So wouldn't have mattered to me.
All right.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
And with that, we're going to return.
I wrote in one file in the other one.
We're going to return to our court in Florida. We're just a minute behind where they're coming back from lunch.
Now I have Miss Wright.
Okay. Back, ladies and gentlemen. We're ready to proceed.
Yes, we are.
State calls Jesse Eubanks.
Hang on, now I have to get this. 1 second, I've got to jump over to a different feed because I've got all the audio work done on the other one. We're going to back up just a tiny bit. Okay, here we go. Here we go. It's a busy day. Once this is over for the day, we're going to pick up with the beginning of the Robert Tellis trial on a separate stream, just so it will be
back, ladies and gentlemen. We're ready
nice
to
and
proceed.
clean.
State calls Jesse Eubanks.
Jesse Eubanks, last witness for the state. Come on down. I've re-unpotatoed the audio, whilst I'm working on it right now, turning everything on.
Raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Can you please introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Jesse Eubanks. That's Newbanks.
Where do you work?
I'm the Marion County Sheriff's Office.
What do you do for them?
I am the Senior Digital Forensic Technician assigned to our Criminal Investigations Division.
What does that mean? What do you do on a day-to-day basis?
So generally speaking, I conduct extraction and analysis of items containing digital evidence. So everything from cell phones, tablets, DVR systems, vehicles. Pretty much if it has a power button, it can contain evidence that comes to my office.
How long have you been with the Marion County Sheriff's Office?
With the Sheriff's Office, a little over 8 years.
And how long have you been in this current position?
In this position, a little over 7.
Since I was 10.
Can you describe to the jury your training and your background that allows you to do this type of job?
So in short, I have a Master's of Science from the University of South Florida, specializing in digital forensics, specifically in cybersecurity, as well as a graduate certificate in digital forensics from the University of South Florida. Collectively, I have about 1,200 hours worth of specialized training in the fields of digital forensics and cybersecurity, and approximately 20 different certifications in those fields.
I pretty much know everything.
Have you,
Dookie Howser,
in your
MD,
job at the Sheriff's
tech
Office,
version.
had the opportunity to extract data from a cell phone?
I have.
Can you estimate about how many times you've done that?
Last check, it was a little over 1,500.
And have you been, what type of programs do you generally use when extracting data?
Generally, we use 2 programs, either Cellbrite or a system called GradeKey.
Have you been trained in how to use those programs?
I have. Of those certifications, some of them are for those too.
Can you describe some of the training that you've gone to, how long it was, that kind of thing?
Sure. So I hold 3 certifications through Cellbrite itself. Ultimately, they're capstone certifications, a Cellbrite Certified Mobile Examiner. That requires both a knowledge-based skill test and actual practical hands-on exercises to actually be able to pass that, plus verified work experience, things of that nature. So I hold that through Cellbrite as well as Gray Key Certified Operator through Magnet now, and the company called Gray Key.
We can just say, just do it.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Have you been permitted to give opinion testimony in the field of digital forensics before in court?
I have.
Can you estimate about how many times?
I believe it's twice.
This would be the 3rd.
Your Honor, I asked the witness be permitted to provide opinion testimony in the area of digital forensics in this case.
Yes, ma'am.
Ooh, maybe a voir dire? Take the witness on voir dire? But have you ever built a cannon dizzy grenade? That's hilarious. Have you ever built a cannon to break a tail light? Digital forensics. What we're going to be hearing, what we expect to hear, is some of the testimony that the evidence they gathered from the defendant's phone and computer, specifically about searches she did. And what's going to be telling is if she searched for stand your ground, self-defense, how to shoot someone and get away with it,
I'm going to have you
something
step
like
out just
that.
for a second. Thank you.
This is Google search history comes in right now. Yes, this is
So
the time.
the actual motion by the state was to have him found to be an expert. Sounds like you're not really challenging his expertise, but more in the nature of what his actual testimony would be.
Yes, Judge, I need to check and see if Mr. Newbanks was listed as an expert witness by the state, but when I conducted Mr. Newbanks' deposition, it was very short. I asked him if he had performed a phone extraction. He said yes. I asked him if he performed any analysis on the phone whatsoever, and he told me no, and that was his involvement. So now it seems like the state is trying to qualify him as an expert witness to have him give an opinion on specific items from the phone, so the defense was not put on notice regarding this.
Ooh.
Was there some sort of report generated by the person?
There were, Your Honor. There were 2 reports that had been sent discovery and provided to the defense.
Does anyone have one? Do you have a report? Or?
Show it to the judge.
And if you could just put on the record when it was sent and what supplemental.
And I emailed it to the defense.
She knows when it was sent. When was it sent? If this gets excluded, basically the state's done. They rest at this point. The jury has stepped out right now while they sort this little issue out. There's the email. Was it after the deadline? So he did the
So if I
self-phone.
understand it, he does an extraction. The extraction generates this printout. This looks like some sort of printout from. It says extraction report, Cellbrite extraction report, and now he's simply going to read the timestamps that are listed. Is that what's the date where it says created?
Generally, Your Honor, yes.
Okay, so he's then, I guess it's my understanding of what you wanted him to do, and you can correct me where I'm wrong, is he's created an extraction. The extraction is in the form of a printout, and the only analysis you want him to do is actually just read the printout as to the timestamps.
Primarily, the focus is twofold. Number one, he analyzed the times and durations of the 2 911 calls in this case that appear on her phone. And
Okay.
secondly,
Where are they on
that
here?
should be on either the first or the last page of that report. There are 2 separate reports.
Okay.
One's a very short 1 page showing those 2 calls. And the other, I believe, is like 4 or 5 pages showing the different videos.
Someone's phone. Is that the judge?
1 second. I'm going to take a short break.
Yes, sir.
Judge just got an emergency phone call. Beep, 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 beep. Vibrate only. Short break. Judge just left, phone in hand. This is one of the examples of the rules in court, where it's good for me but not for thee. The judge reigns when it comes to the courtroom, and you all need your phones off, but he can keep his on. Because who's going to get him in trouble? Honestly, there's nobody in the court that can punish the judge. There's some higher courts that can look at something and say, based on this happening in this case, it affects that case, and yes, they can get reprimanded and things like that. But yeah, the Judge Schroeder's phone constantly dinged. Judge Boyd gets calls from her mom during trial. It happens. Judge has a delivery. Amazon's at the door. The courtroom is his world. Yes, and I'm not a huge fan of that, because I think we've seen cases. Let's see, who was the young police officer that shot Tatiana Jefferson? The guy who went to the backyard and shot through the window. Do you remember him? That judge that he had at a previous hearing with a different person had a shock collar put on him and had the defendant shocked over and over because he wouldn't answer questions. I kid you not. Look that one up. It's a huge abuse of power, and I don't like that side, because I think that this setup can allow that. But I don't have a better one. The judge's new chair has arrived. Please, can I have your old one, Judge? I cannot afford a $5,000 chair. We still haven't got the answer yet about when this was sent. And I think defense knows that it was sent too late. I think that's the ace in the hole on this one. The fact that the prosecution's still reviewing everything, I think they're going to have to try to talk their way out of this one. Why does chat summary always default to Kyle? I don't know. Texting judge got booted. Yes, she did, but that was not just for texting. I mean, the contents of the text were the issue there. I can fast forward just a little bit. Let me see if we can do that here. Let's go right here. Keep the audio on. Okay, judge comes back in 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're mostly caught up here. It's a great shot of a suit.
Apologize. It's an emergency.
There was a sale on Amazon. Had to order.
I think we've resolved the issue. I'm not going to ask Jesse Newbanks any opinion questions. The only potential concern I had was about the timestamps. It's really not opinion testimony. The issue's taken care of, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
They had to pull that because they knew they had violated the time limit on the report.
So I guess I had to go back. Are you going to object to him being qualified as an expert, or you're not simply not going to ask?
Qualify him as an expert, Your Honor.
Okay, no problem. We'll bring the jurors back in.
They lost that one. The state knew they lost, and instead of having the judge rule that they lost.
The question was about the report being provided. There was a report provided, I believe, August 8th in an email to the defense. The reports I'm referring to in seeking to release.
That's correct.
I'm sorry, what now? What did you say? Okay.
My Airbnb chair is the worst ever, but no, I don't need a fund. I've got a great chair at home. I have a memory foam pillow I'm sitting on that's doubled over with a silk pillowcase.
Direct your attention to June 6th of 2023. Were you contacted by lead detective Ryan Stith in this case to extract certain data off of a phone belonging to Susan Lorincz?
I was.
And how did you come to be in possession of the phone?
The device was currently secured in the Digital Evidence Lab's secured storage facility where I obtained it to execute a search warrant.
Showing most of the introduced evidence as State's Exhibit 18. Can you take a look at that and tell me if you recognize that?
This would be the one.
Sorry?
That's correct.
Is that the phone that you examined?
It is.
And you said you examined that pursuant to a search warrant, right?
That is correct.
Did that search warrant allow you to look into the phone and extract certain specific data from the phone?
It did.
Can you explain to the jury the process you went through in extracting the data off of that phone?
So very broadly speaking, we take the cellular device and we connect it to any of our forensic workstations or whatever tool we're using at that time, and that allows us to gain access to certain data within the phone itself.
What type of information did you extract from the phone that's relevant to what we're going to be talking about here?
So ultimately, we conducted an extraction of various different types of artifacts from the phone itself, but specifically we were looking at videos and things like that within the search warrant as outlined within it.
Were there any problems with your extraction?
None I can recall.
Once you extracted the data, what did you do with that information?
So that information is loaded into a digital report and it's provided to the case agent for his review.
Would that be Detective Stith?
That is correct.
All right. During your extraction, did you locate any videos that came from a blink camera mounted inside of a sliding glass door of the defendant's residence?
We did.
Can you explain to the jury how a blink camera works and how it interacts with a cell phone?
So generally speaking, those cameras operate kind of isolated from the phone itself. They operate on a system, record a video, send it up to a cloud or some form of a server as run by that application provider. Then the phone is simply using an application to access that data.
And a blink camera is like a security camera?
Correct.
Okay. If someone accesses that blink application from their cell phone, is that video or that data placed onto the cell phone somehow?
There is information, yes.
How does that work?
So follow with me, if you will. Most applications, because as humans we generally are impatient, they will try to do their best to help ease user interaction with those specific apps. So taking Blink, for example, when you load up the Blink app on your cell phone, it will load in what we call cache information to your cellular device. It's done by the application, not necessarily by the user. But it's done so that every time you go back into that application, things that were there before are already there and you don't have to wait for it to reload. Think about it if you're looking at Instagram or Facebook, anything you had looked at previously is already there. Next time you go back into it, it just loads the new stuff. It caches all that data to the phone, and we're able to see that data when we do our forensic extractions.
Slow down a little bit.
I apologize.
He's so excited.
When you examined the Blink camera data from the phone, did you locate any camera footage from the nighttime?
No, we did not.
Can you explain why there would not be footage from the nighttime in this situation?
So what we did find in some of these videos is that the cameras themselves were either mounted or placed behind a glass window. At night, these cameras operate off of infrared, so the light turns on, but because the camera's behind a piece of glass, it's actually reflecting the infrared back at the camera itself, so the camera's effectively blind. We did locate a number of videos indicating that was it, and we didn't find any videos from the nighttime itself.
So did you find any Blink videos showing
Noodle
either the shooting or what happened just before because of that very problem?
None that I saw, no.
He'll learn to talk to the jury with every question.
Did you locate some
witness.
photos on or some videos on the cell phone that were taken directly from the cell phone itself?
We did.
Did you also locate evidence on Miss Lorintz's phone that she had called 911 on 2 separate occasions on June 2nd, 2023?
We did.
As far as the 911 calls, how does a phone store that information?
So generally speaking, phones will store that information in the database itself. Specifically, the database we looked at for this is the call history, specifically the call logs.
Does the phone itself record the exact time that the call is made?
Witness.
It does.
Does it record the duration of the call?
It does.
And how does it do that?
So generally speaking, it's from the timestamp of the phone itself when the call is made and then the duration until it is hung up and terminated.
And how do we know that timestamp is accurate?
It's based off of the phone itself, connecting to the cellular provider.
Could the phone have the wrong time on it or something?
It's possible, but generally speaking, with the phones, they actually obtain accurate time from the cellular provider based off of where you're at in the world, so they're generally accurate.
Was a report generated showing these two 911 calls that occurred on June 2nd of 2023, the dates, the times, and the duration of those calls based on the information you extracted from the defendant's cell phone?
There was a report made, yes.
Was a report generated also showing certain videos captured from her actual cell phone that appeared during your extraction process?
There was.
And did that report show videos taken from her cell phone from about 7:21 and 14 seconds p.m. until about 8:53, 32 seconds p.m. on June 2nd of 2023?
That is correct.
Showing it from Martin's Exhibit X. Do you recognize that report and the disc that's attached to it?
I do.
How do you recognize it?
Has my initials on both.
Okay. Have you reviewed the report before?
The outfit looks really
good. And does that fairly
it's a good
accurately depict the information you extracted from the defendant's cell phone?
In reference to these items, yes.
And we mentioned some videos. Have you reviewed the disc that's attached to that exhibit?
That is correct.
What's on that disc?
They are the videos as referenced in the report itself.
Okay. And about how many videos are located on that report?
I believe there's 11.
Does the report show what looks to be like duplicate entries of the same video?
That is correct.
Can you explain to the jury why that would be the case?
So on phones themselves, the operating systems of the phones will move things about and do things to, again, ease user access. We go back to that cache data we were talking about with the Blink application. Specifically, we find the exact same videos in two separate locations on the phone. One within the DCIM folder, stands for digital camera image. It's a general rule of thumb, if you will, when it comes to actually taking photos. The other one we find within a cache folder of the actual file system for the Apple operating system itself. It's the exact same video, just located in two separate places on the phone, so we report in both.
And why do you report them both?
Just so that we can talk about both of them existing.
Okay. And you mentioned the word cache again. What is that?
That's done by the phone and the operating system itself, not necessarily by the user.
This time you're on a State with State's Exhibit X into evidence is 22.
Objection, hearsay, relevance.
Over the objection, given evidence of State's number 22.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Hearsay and relevance objections overruled. The state wanted this guy as an expert witness so he could give opinions, and they withdrew that after the defense pointed out that the report was not sent timely.
All right, I'm showing you the first page of that report that we just looked at. Can you just explain to the jury what we're looking at so they'll understand?
Sure. So as you can see at the first line, it's labeled as number 1, and then subsequently after that, you have 1 with a 1 in parentheses, and then a 1 with a 2 in parentheses. That go back to what I was just talking about the duplicate videos. So it shows one video. It's the exact same video based off of that hash value. Essentially what that is a algorithmic, talking about it as a fingerprint for those specific files. Shows that they're the exact same thing. Underneath that, it shows us the name and location, as well as any metadata associated with the videos as we found them. So that's
metadata. Before you go on, what is metadata?
Metadata is generally data about data. Think of it as a subset of information about the specific file we're talking about. So in this case, it's the created, modified, and access times, as well as the path and the name for these videos we're looking at. On this screen right here, it's the 2 sets for items number 1 and 2 with their duplicates for the videos we're looking at here.
And what is it meant by created, modified, access times?
Yes, ma'am.
I think we're going to see this witness again. This witness is thrilled to be in the job he's in, and he loves it. And he's already, I would say at a young age, even though he's been working for 8 years in the profession, he's already loving the courtroom scene. He presents well. I think he's going to be an expert that people are going to call up a lot. So we're going to see this guy again in the coming years. I'm just calling that now. This is the last witness for the state, according to what they've told us, unless they change things up. So we expect the state to rest after this. Defense has 1 or 2 witnesses, and then once that's done, we're going to hop over to opening statements, which are already underway. They might even be done by now in the Robert Tellis trial, and we're going to work late tonight. Covering day one there. Good pan. Good pan. Good work there. Now we see all the hash values. That's the 0008. 00008. That's the image. That is like the lowest resolution thumbnail image ever. I can see grass. It looks like we're looking out a window. I think that's looking out the glass sliding door of her house on that. Possibly. Or looking out her front door.
Overrule the eviction.
Thanks for the likes. It really does help the channel.
Probably self-explanatory, but what does created mean?
Generally, it's when that video was created on the storage media, in this case, the phone.
What about modified?
When it was last changed or edited.
And what about accessed?
Generally speaking, when it was last viewed or seen.
I want to go through those 11 videos that you extracted from the phone.
Okay.
So she took the picture and never did anything about it.
Did you locate a video on June 2nd, 2023 at 7:21:14 p.m.?
We did. That's the first video.
And are many of these videos very, very short?
That is correct.
Okay. So this first video, according to the report you have, occurred on 7:21 and 14 seconds p.m.
That is correct.
Based on your extracted data from the phone, what time was the first 911 call made on her phone on that day?
Straight up.
Going to that page of the report, the first 911 call was at approximately 8:54:09 p.m. on 16.
How do you know that these videos were taken directly from her cell phone?
So, again, going back to the specific file path we were talking about, they actually show that they were from the actual phone itself, and there is metadata within the report to show that it was from a specific make and model of the phone to which it lives.
Showing you a photo that you found from at 7:30 and 12 seconds p.m. Was there a photo at 7:30 and 36 seconds p.m. as well?
There is videos.
Why is she recording us?
Is there a photo or a video at 7:58 and 59 seconds p.m.?
There is.
No, there's nothing to record!
They're twerking and doing TikTok dances.
Did you locate a photo at 8:33 and 34 seconds p.m.?
We did.
Did you locate a video at 8:33 and 59 seconds p.m.?
We did.
What about a photo at 8:34 and 57 seconds p.m.? A video, excuse me.
We did.
She's peeking through the curtains. She forgot to push stop recording. Now we're upside down. I'm going to object on relevance.
49 seconds p.m.
We did.
Was that video only like a second long?
I believe so.
Was there another video 2 seconds later at 8:49, 51 seconds?
That is correct.
Now, this video was at 8:59 and 51 seconds. Is that about 5 minutes before the first 911 call was made?
That is correct.
Did you locate a video at 8:50 and 37 seconds p.m.?
We did.
Roller skate.
And finally, did you locate a video at 8:53 and 32 seconds p.m.?
We did.
Is that last video about 30 seconds before the first 911 call was made?
It appears so, yes, sir.
You mentioned that you also extracted the data regarding the 2 911 calls made by the defendant's phone on the evening of June 2nd, 2023, right?
That is correct.
What do we see on this page of the report?
This is specifically those 2 911 calls, their timestamps and durations.
And does the report, the extraction data from her phone, show the time that the first 911 call was made?
It does.
And what time was it again?
That was timestamped at 8:54:09 p.m. UTC, and it lasted approximately 4 minutes and 55 seconds.
Okay, we see that under the number 1 column?
Correct.
UTC -4. That's not 8:54 p.m. UTC.
So that first call was made at 8:54:09 and lasted 4 minutes and 55 seconds. About when would that phone have disconnected?
Approximately 5 minutes after, so roughly 8:59 p.m.
According to your extraction results, when was the second 911 call made?
That was made at 9:01 and 37 seconds p.m.
So about how long between when the first 911 call was hung up and the second call was made?
Approximately 2 minutes, 30 seconds.
Thank you, sir. No other questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination? Is he excused?
He is, Your Honor.
Sir, are you excused? Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Buxman?
Got witness back?
Thank you.
Any more witnesses? Are they going to rest? Judge just got another text.
State rest, Your Honor.
State rest. Boom.
Ladies and gentlemen, the state of Florida has rested its case. However, the trial is not over. I'm going to have you go back to the jury room, and we'll go over a few things here, and then we'll see who the next witness is going to be. Right now, go back with leave your notepads here, and go back with the bailiff, and we'll have you out as soon as we can, okay?
At this point, for her to prevail in this case, they need to call a witness that will testify that there was a threat. That's a bare minimum, that there was a threat that they heard. And I haven't heard it yet. I mean, everyone seems to have been...
All right, so the state has rested its case. Jurors are outside the courtroom.
Mayor, I'm doing the motion for judgment of acquittal.
Either way you want.
May I approach?
Yes, ma'am.
Your reference?
This is a motion for judgment of acquittal. This is asking the judge to just, based on the face
Your
value,
Honor, at this time, the
throw it
defense
out.
moves for a judgment of acquittal. Based on the evidence that's presented in the light most favorable to the state has failed to satisfy its burden in this case.
The case law is clear that once a prima facie showing of self-defense is made, that the state has the burden of disproving that she acted in self-defense, that Ms. Lorincz acted in self-defense, beyond a reasonable doubt. So the evidence today has failed to meet that burden. The state's evidence showed that there had been prior violence from Ms. Owens. There was a battery where she threw a sign. There were prior trespasses, there were prior threats. Those came from multiple state witnesses, including, I guess, through the officer from Ms. Owens herself. The confrontation on June 2nd was started by Ms. Owens approaching Ms. Lorinc's residence. There's also evidence of Ms. Lorinc's attempts at disengaging, both in the past and on June 2nd, by telling her, get off my property, you're trespassing, and attempting to use other means to get this confrontation stopped. It's also supported by the evidence afterwards that she surrendered to Deputy Stringer and to Trainee Barboza, that she called 911, and that she gave full statements to law enforcement and follow-ups at the detective's requests. And I present to the court some case law on the matter. Jenkins v. State 942 Southern 2nd 910. It's a Florida 2nd DCA case from 2006. The facts in that case are a little bit different. Other than the banging on the door, it's also a case where the victim was banging on the door. In that case, the defendant actually had two residences, two mobile homes that were next to each other, and the victim was banging on the door to the residence that the defendant did not live in but was owned by him. And in that case, the court denied the motion for judgment of acquittal.
In that case, it looks like wasn't there like some sort of punch thrown?
Yes.
Like the victim actually punched the defendant first?
Yes, that's correct. The facts are somewhat different from this case, and he was not inside the residence at the time, and they do go through that. The reason that I cited that case is it also has a nice recap of a lot of the Florida cases regarding self-defense, starting on page 6. It talks about 7 Florida cases that have reversed convictions based on the state's failure to rebut a prima facie case of self-defense, and then goes through kind of the facts of each of those, that in a circumstance where, I think they're talking about all these cases here. Thompson, which talks about a case where there's a fight where the defendant has backed up, brandished a gun at an aggressor, but the aggressor continued to approach, that kind of scenario. So it does a good job at kind of explaining the circumstances under which the state has or has not rebutted cases of self-defense. And then it also talks about circumstances where the courts have properly denied a motion for judgment of acquittal. So refusing to acquit defendants based on claims of self-defense are materially distinguished in certain scenarios, like when a defendant's brother threatened to kill him during an argument, then the defendant drove away and returned later with a rifle. That was distinguished. In those kinds of cases, the courts have properly denied a motion for judgment of acquittal.
Okay.
Additionally, I provided to the court SR v. State 11 Southern 3rd 442. It's a 3rd DCA case from 2009. This is not this is a self-defense case, but it is not a deadly force case. This is a juvenile case where the evidence in that case was that the juvenile defendant, who I believe was a female, was in a circumstance where she was in a hallway, and her stepfather, who had prior acts of violence, was blocking her exit, and she kind of pushed past him on her way to the door. And the court found her guilty of a battery, and the appellate court reversed and said that self-defense does not focus on whether an act was purposeful, it's whether or not an act was done to defend oneself against the imminent use of force. And in that case, similar to this case, there was testimony of prior acts of violence, and there was testimony that she was aware of those, prior acts of violence. And so the court found that the denial for judgment of acquittal was unreasonable, and they reversed.
These
and
are all
then the last
stretch.
case that I cited is McGriff v. State. This is an older case. It's 341 Southern 2nd.
Older means 1800s.
1036. It's a 4th DCA case from 1977. The reason that I wanted to bring that case to the court's attention is that in that case, they talk about the circumstance where the behavior of the defendant after the shooting happened, in this case, also tends to support the claim of self-defense, which is like the case here. In that case, I guess the victim was intoxicated. The defendant initially pulled out a gun and fired a warning shot, and the victim continued to approach, and then there ended up being a scuffle, and the gun discharged, and subsequent to that, the defendant ordered that someone take him to the hospital, and then the defendant turned himself in, and he gave a full statement to law enforcement. So for those reasons, I would ask that the court grant the defense motion for judgment of acquittal.
It's going to be denied.
What's the state's position?
In the incident case, the state has established a prima facie case to go to the jury, to establish the elements of manslaughter. We've established that the crime happened in Marion County, that the victim, Ms. Owens, by stipulation, was in fact the victim in this case. She's deceased. We've established that she is deceased because the defendant, by her own admissions, fired the gun through the door. The projectile struck the victim, and the victim died as a result of that. That her own testimony shows an intentional act was committed by pulling the trigger. There's no indication it was accidental or something to that effect. Additionally, based on the facts and circumstances of this case, we've established that the decision to fire that firearm would constitute culpable negligence. As far as the self-defense aspect goes, Your Honor, the defense has provided, I believe, 3 cases, all of which are very factually distinguishable from the instant case. Here, the instant case, we have the defendant behind a closed, locked, deadbolted door, and we have verbal statements by the victim and some hounding. Clearly, a reasonable jury could find that there is no imminent threat towards the defendant at the time that she chose to shoot the gun, and as well as there is no imminent ability or attempt for the victim to engage in a forcible felony. Even if this court assumes she was trespassing, it's not a forcible felony, it would justify the use of deadly force. I ask the JOA be denied.
All right, well, I've listened to the evidence quite carefully and taken notes, especially on issues I thought would be relevant to the defense and to what I understood would eventually be a motion for judgment of acquittal. I do find that the evidence, when viewed in the light most favorable to the state, which is the proper standard at this point in the trial, that the state was able to present competent, substantial evidence that could overcome Ms. Lorinc's self-defense claim, and also produce competent, substantial evidence which would support a verdict for manslaughter. So I will deny the defense's motion for judgment of acquittal, and we will move on from there.
Yes, sir.
I know you have at least some witnesses or witness available today.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have one witness here.
All right.
Your Honor, before we go any further, the defense, before the last witness testified, may have said enough to trigger an allegation of a discovery violation. By report, I'm not sure if they're still pursuing that, considering that we did send them the report well before the witness testified. I'm concerned that if there is an allegation of discovery violation in an appellate court, may look at that. There was no Richardson hearing conducted.
Judge, no, the defense, just so it's clear for the record, the defense did receive both reports from Mr. Buxman. The defense's only concern was the fact that they had not listed Jesse Eubanks as an expert witness, and then we're trying to tender him as an expert witness. Just so that's clear for the record, I think that issue was resolved.
So you're not suggesting there's a
discovery violation?
A discovery violation?
No.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're not requesting any sort of Richardson hearing?
No, sir.
I do find there was no discovery violation. The state provided the extraction reports which is essentially what Mr. Newbanks testified to. Ultimately, he was not qualified as an expert for any sort of analysis. I think digital forensic technicians are maybe a little different than other types of experts anyways, because
they're all
typically
nerds.
Mr. Newbanks would be
Good nerds.
simply reading from an extraction report in this sort of case, and then showing what was on the phone, which is a little different than most sort of experts. But ultimately, no one tried to qualify him as an expert. The defense has said there's no discovery violation. I find there's no discovery violation. Therefore, I find there's no reason to conduct a Richardson hearing.
Granted.
And we'll move on with the trial.
Thank you, Your Honor.
But you just have one person here, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
That's fine. I'll let the jury know they'll come early, and we'll go from there, okay? I do want to go over some, after that, once the jury's excused, see if we can get as close as possible to getting the instructions done. Is that good for everybody? I think I have the last instruction. I would request, there is another instruction that can be read subsequent to jury verdicts regarding that jurors have a right to not talk to the press. I don't know the number of it. It's somewhere in the instructions. I do think that may be appropriate to read in this case.
Yes, sir.
Standard instruction?
It's in the standard instructions, I believe.
We'll find it.
No idea what number it is. I can probably look later on this evening, but it just informs jurors that it's their right to not comment on the case. Yeah, I think it informs them they have a right to comment on the case, but they have a right not to comment. And that may be appropriate in this case.
Yes, sir.
So it's read only after a verdict comes, regardless of what the verdict is. So it's not read to them prior to making a verdict. Okay?
Yes, sir.
If you can't find it, I'll find it. I've seen it before. But I don't have all the numbers memorized, that's my guess. All right, so let me go down. And any changes that we make to jury instructions, just send me the instructions that are final. I don't need all the other ones again.
Both sides have said they already agree on the jury
Send me all the
instructions.
preliminaries and everything else.
That was me.
Huh?
That was me.
I wasn't blaming anybody. I threw it out there as a whoever, so you know, if you want to confess, that's me. But it's just I don't want to keep throwing away pieces of paper.
Yes, sir.
You know, pile of unnecessary paperwork. We'll bring the jurors back in, and then we'll excuse them after the witness.
You will bring the jurors. Oh, we got the bird again. It's a nice bird. Really like this judge. I've loved this whole court procedure, and for the courtroom to go as smoothly as it has, you need all three parties, and by that I mean the judge, the prosecution, and the defense to be on the same page, and they are. This whole trial has gone smoothly. Rulings have been quick. Everything has just been to the point. There's not a bunch of frivolous
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen.
lollygagging going on.
As I said, the state has rested their case. The defense has one witness they want to call. After that witness, we're going to take a recess for the day. You'll get to go home early. And then I'll see you same time, same place tomorrow, okay? Go ahead.
The defense called Rosalie Smith.
What's the first name?
Rosalie.
Rosalie?
Rosalie. Remember, what we need to listen for is those factors that are critical in Florida law, where there has to be a threat of physical force or violence against somebody. A forcible felony has to be occurring. Other than that, they just have to depend on the jury thinking that it's reasonable for the action that she took. I'm not sure if the jury can get there, especially looking at those timestamps of her phone. It's not a problem that she shot first, didn't give any warning. That's not a problem in Florida. Their laws are very much a shoot first state.
If you could raise your right hand for me.
Hello.
Sorry. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Have a seat, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Can you please introduce yourself for the jury?
Rosalie Smith
Ms. Smith, where do you currently live?
at 1724 7th Lane.
Do you live in apartment 2?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that here in Ocala?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that where you were living back in June of 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you lived out there?
Since sorry.
That's okay.
Since December of 2021.
Did you move here from California?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that where you were born and raised?
Yeah.
Where was the last place that you lived in California?
Roseville.
The neighborhood that you live in now, can you describe it for me?
Your Honor, may we approach? Sure.
Ooh. So this is the neighbor in the fourplex is what it sounds like. Describing the neighborhood. This has been something that was been objected to previously. Thank you, Lenova. Got that directly. Thank you.
I'm going to have you step out just for a little bit again. Sorry.
Ooh, another proffer or another argument, another sidebar. She can't say the hood. She can't say the hood. She can't say ghetto. She can't say terms like that. That is a nice light arrangement. It makes me think of the fan. Why could we look at that during the breaks?
All right, the jury's outside the courtroom. I'll have a proffer of her testimony.
Sure. I'll do the proper first.
Sure.
The neighborhood that you live in now, can you describe it for me?
It's, I don't know, it's less than mid, it's a little bit above the hood. How's that?
Have you described it as one step away or a step away from the hood?
Yes.
Okay. And Judge, there's been several witnesses so far that have testified to this. I think Ms. Costa may have said that as well, and I think one of the deputies, I think it was Deputy Stringer, had testified that the neighborhood was troublesome. It kind of goes to Ms. Lawrence's state of mind, so I think that this testimony is relevant.
What's the state's position on that?
Here again, I would object with her characterizing the neighborhood as one step away from the hood. One, I don't believe that's relevant to the issue of self-defense between the issues of the victim and the defendant. Two, I believe any type of characterization like that is more prejudice than it is probative of anything. And I think I know also in her deposition she talks about gunshots in the neighborhood and things like that. And I just think this is an improper characterization of the neighborhood. That's
I don't have the witness. Is that the only question you're going to ask in those regards?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have the witness step outside the courtroom for just a little bit.
Well, she's already heard the argument. The witness heads out. Why was she allowed in for the argument then? Door closed.
Referring to some place as troubled, I mean, lots of places can be troubled. Referring to some place as a hood clearly has kind of a racial connotation to it. So
can we use a different word?
I don't mind her saying, it's lower economic, it's just a financial term, or that's been troubled, but referring to something as a hood, I think has...
You said lower economic or what? You kind of broke
I mean, I guess I don't have a problem saying something like, and I don't want to put words in her mouth, so you may have to find another word for her besides hood. But I would say, it's obviously not a financially wealthy area. I mean, it's pretty clear that These are a set of quadruplexes, which typically, at least in this part of Marion County, are not, terribly expensive. Most of them are rental properties. But referring to something as a hood, now I think you're trying to refer to as some sort of racial context or for lack of a better word, some sort of black neighborhood. I mean, that's the clearer connotation that I think I would draw from that. And to that extent, I think it's too prejudicial and has no probative value.
I understand.
Because we already have in evidence that is and I don't know what the situation is regarding anyone else who lived there, but we know that at least this defendant rented there. Sounds like maybe she rents there, so it's a rental community of quadruplexes. So I think it's pretty clear that it's already,
I think the rental community
not the most wealthy part of the county.
Good descriptor as well.
But I'm not going to allow her to refer to something as the hood.
I understand the court's ruling, just for the record, I'm not introducing it for that purpose any way whatsoever. I'm mainly using it to show that this was kind of an unsafe or bad neighborhood. I understand that that's what the court's ruling. I just want to put that on the record that that's not my intention. I can speak with her.
Yeah, I think you need to find some word other than hood, because then you have suggesting that it's bad because there are African Americans living there, and that's the connotation that comes from that, versus bad because there's people of any race that may do something wrong.
So is the court okay with her saying that it's sort of a lower income neighborhood?
Sure. I mean, I think that's pretty much already in evidence. Like I said, most of the quadruplexes I've seen in Marion County are just like this. They're mostly rentals, and people are living there for periods of time, but most of them aren't owned by, I guess they could be, but I don't think most of them are owned by the people who live there.
Occupants don't.
But some could be, but even that, it's not, like I said, it's not like you're living in a mansion. So I think, yeah, sure.
I don't know if Mr. Smith or whoever's seeing this wants to go with me when I'm speaking with her, because technically she's on the same.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, you're interjecting something that doesn't need to be interjected in trial.
She just read
Because she's a sitting witness, both sides have to go. She can't just talk to one side again. So both the prosecution and defense are going out to talk to her, giving her that directive. Let's pause for a second. We'll get audio back in just a second. Hopefully. Let's see if it slips out anyway. Sometimes witnesses forget to
Ready for her to return?
Instructions.
Ready for her to come back?
Yes, sir.
Bring her back, then we'll bring the jurors.
How many times have you gotten the bird in a single day? I did a lot of driving, and so I think my number's in double digits. The description of the hood does not match what I see with the kids playing soccer, with adults reffing, blowing the whistle out in the yard. This looks like a good neighborhood. I mean, I would like that in my neighborhood.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Ready to proceed? Thank you.
The neighborhood that you live in now, is that kind of like a lower income neighborhood?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, how far away is your house from Susan Lorinc's house?
I describe it about a football field.
Almost a football field away?
Yes.
Have you ever met Susan Lorincz?
No, ma'am.
Did you know Attica Owens at all?
No.
Did you ever meet any of the people that were involved in this incident?
No, ma'am.
Why are you here?
So I want to talk to you about June 2nd, 2023, okay?
Okay.
Where were you when the shooting happened?
I was sitting on an enclosed patio at my apartment.
Was that like a little patio behind like a wooden fence?
Yeah, probably a 6-foot fence.
What did you hear?
I heard a lot of pounding, a lot of yelling, screaming, and then I heard a gunshot.
Did you hear a lot of pounding on a door like it was going to be pushed down?
Yes.
Did you call it like a cop knock?
That's what I call it.
Was it very loud?
Very loud.
Did you hear anyone screaming?
Yes, I heard a woman's voice screaming. To me, it sounded like she was screaming words, but I could not understand any of the words.
Was there a lot of pounding on the door?
Yeah,
And you said you couldn't make out what the person was screaming.
absolutely not.
Was it a female voice screaming?
Yes,
Was the female screaming at the top of her lungs?
probably.
Was it like a pound, 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 let me in kind of thing?
Yeah.
Your Honor, and I would object to the question as a mischaracterization of the witness's earlier testimony.
So ruled.
And speculation.
Did it sound like the woman was really angry?
I would say so, just by hearing her voice.
Now, could you see any of this?
No, ma'am.
So even though you were almost a football field away, you could still hear this?
I could hear it.
How long do you think the pounding went on for?
It seemed like it went on forever. Maybe 5 minutes, maybe less, but I mean, I wasn't timing it, but it just went on and on and on.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
No objections to the leading, but it does help guide through the minefield of
Yes, Your Honor.
possible answers.
So, Ms. Smith, how are you doing today?
I'd rather not be here, but I'm great.
Can I ask you a couple of questions? One, you said you were in a patio. Were you outside?
I was outside my apartment, yes.
Is there any type of roof or anything above your patio?
No, there's no roof.
Okay.
Just a fence.
So you're outside, and defense counsel asked you a question about it was pound, 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 and did it sound like a let me in? But you testified you didn't hear any specific words, correct?
And none of them.
Yeah. You couldn't make out any words that were said?
No.
All right. So any idea of what might have been said would be purely guessing on your part?
Absolutely.
Pure speculation on your part?
Yes.
And you called 911 in this case, correct?
Yes.
And you only called 911 after you heard the loud sound, correct?
Yes.
All right. And you believe that loud sound to be a gunshot?
Yes, I know what it sounds like.
Okay. And it was only after you heard the gunshot that you called 911?
Right.
I know what it sounds like. Does that open the door to have there been other shootings?
Any redirect?
No, sir.
Oh,
She
we missed a
excused?
chance.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ma'am, you're excused with our thanks. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
I think the question they
All right,
missed
ladies and
was,
gentlemen, we're going to be
how
done
do you
for
know what
today.
it sounds like?
I remind you to put your notebooks down. I also remind you that, the case is not over, so you can't begin to deliberate in any way. We are in recess, so you can, of course, go home or wherever else you want to go. Remember my prior warnings about looking up anything. Please don't look on local news sites or local television where it may be covered. Please don't talk to anyone about the case or let anyone talk to you about the case, okay? If anyone does try to say anything to you, please let us know, and we'll be happy to take care of that for you. Have a very nice day. Thank you.
Okay, as they're going to start working on jury instructions, we're going to bail on this part and pick up the Robert Tellis.
The jury has been excused for today. So,
see if they get
does everyone have a
scheduling.
copy of the jury instructions?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Judge.
The one besides where you sent to me, is that the same one the state sent, or is that a different one? Or?
No, it's the same. There was just some grammatical errors that I found. So
Okay.
We're gonna leave that right there for just a minute because we're gonna hear the jury instructions again. The jury's gonna be read those instructions. They're almost all agreed on by both sides. It's not gonna be really spicy. It's gonna have the law specifically, and it's important, but it's the law about self-defense and about what qualifies or what would be acceptable. And really, it's gonna come down to does the jury believe that what the actions she took were reasonable, that she was actually in fear for her life? And if they say yes, then she's gonna walk away. She's gonna be acquitted. And if they say no, jail time's in her future. So we're going to go ahead and bail on that for now. We'll be back tomorrow as they pick up the rest of, or I guess, day 2 of defense case in chief, and we're going to jump to Robert Tullis in Arizona, or sorry, Nevada. Give me just one second here. But we're going to do it on a different stream. So I'll put it up right now. If you want to be first in chat, you got to be there right now. And we're going to take just a tiny break. I'll be back probably in less than 10 minutes, even though I said 10 minutes on there. But let's see. Do I have some music? I think I have some music. Let's do that. There it is. A portal, perhaps? I'll build a portal while we're talking. All right, let's go back. I'll portal everyone over. Interesting trial. Self-defense trials always intrigue me. There we go. Portal is built. So all you have to do is buckle up, keep your hands and feet inside the ride at all times, and enjoy the trip. Tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love. Smile at someone to make their day just a little bit better. Please stay safe till we go live again in less than 10 minutes with the Robert Tullis. We're going to be playing catch-up, 1.25 speed. Until we catch up, we're going to be skipping breaks. Hopefully get caught up tonight so we're not working till midnight. But it's going to be great. We're watching 2 trials at once here. Woohoo! I'm excited. I love Mountain Dew. Slowly, Wayne. I've had 2 bottles, can you tell? I'm sorry. I've fallen off the wagon. That's what happened. All right. Quick break. We'll be right back. Let's figure out the audio. We'll deal with that when we get there. All right. Turn that one off. All right, buckle up. We're going to do a portal. We're going to go to Robert Tullis for opening statements, and we'll see you guys on the other side. Thanks, guys.